That's right. Starting out with a Rickroll for you bitches. How's it going? This is Late Night with E Honda, Sick Edition, where I'm probably not going to be turning on my camera because I got shit for sleep last night and I look like ass. And my voice is a little deeper because of the sickness. So enjoy the sexy voice. How y'all doing tonight?
Sexy time Honda.
Sexy time Honda.
I'm good, brother. I'm good.
We're joined by
Corey Poop.
Corey.
What's going on, everybody?
I don't think they've got one for Xanatos or Ohio Patriot. They don't have the Ohio Patriot poop song.
Not yet.
I gotta work on that one. Then there was someone who's supposed to be here, but
In the arms of the angel.
I don't know what happened.
He's probably still stuffing his face.
And there was someone else who was supposed to be here, who was stuffing his face right now.
Oh, shit.
Oh, this one's for you too, Corey.
Fuck you. Just fuck you.
I
Fuck you up your goat ass. You shiesty motherfucker. Fucking spiders. Spider-Man needs to just line them all up in like a baseball field so they can all be blown to hell.
Face reveal? Face reveal? Anyone?
Face reveal, like for
I got
you.
my cam up. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Uh-oh. Oh, snap.
God.
You
You're gonna be
ready
like-
to be scared. You ready to be scared. It's ugly. Just,
Ah!
fair warning.
My dog's jumping.
Oh no. The beard. It's too much.
Oh, look at all the face
And
reveals.
the hair. The hair.
Leo.
Oh, man. What's up, Leo?
What's up,
What's
brother?
going on?
Well, fuck you guys. I guess I got to turn on my camera if everyone's camera's going to be on.
Oh, shit.
I look like shit, though, dude. I did not sleep for...
Dude, you look better than me. I look like shit. Anyone looks like shit as me.
No, I mean,
Good.
I can't breathe through my nose, and every time I go to sleep, like, a half an hour later, I wake up with, like, sandpaper tongue because it's so fucking dry, dude. Like, it's been rough, man, the last couple of days. I don't know if I've got COVID right now or what, but, like, yesterday I could barely even fucking talk. And, today it's not much better, but at least it doesn't hurt so bad to talk, but now it's, like, moved down to my lungs, and I keep sneezing and shit. And I keep, like, wanting to sneeze, and then it goes away, and then, like, I'm like, okay, I'm good, and then I'll sneeze, like, hard, and I, like, pulled a fucking muscle in my neck from sneezing so hard, now my neck fucking hurts, too. I'm like, oh my god, dude.
Fuck that shit.
So, yeah,
Ugh.
things are great in the Honda household. Clean the fuck out of the kitchen, at least, in the bathroom, so no one else gets sick from being around me, but I got it from both the kids at the same time, so there's no one else here to get sick, really.
Eesh.
Those bastards, they have no father. MSB dropped in 5. Should I do the Yankee Marshall thing? MSB 9021 dropped in $5 and said, "Good evening, everyone. That opening screen with manipulation is exactly what I needed." Why does he do that? He has like this like announcer voice that he does. Yankee
The
Marshall.
nasally announcer voice, yeah.
Yeah. He does like this like really fucking I don't know what the accent is. I guess it's West Virginia is where he's from, hey? Uh-oh. You're getting called out, Leo. You're getting called out, Leo.
Yep, I saw that too.
Let's see. I'm not even in the chat right now.
Oh, I didn't even finish this one. Going through some crap right now. Shit, man. I'm sorry, MSB. Hopefully everything's not too bad for you. Or at least figurable, outable. You know what I mean? Because there's like kinds of shit that just don't seem to go away, and then there's shit that just sucks temporarily or whatever, you know?
Yeah, I'm not black at all. Right, I just lie.
He just talks like it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He's like Eminem. You better.
Eminem with less of a girly voice. That's for sure.
Better get that mom spaghetti off your shirt.
Eminem's got a bitch voice. Just saying.
Well, he turned into a fucking cuck, didn't he?
Yep.
He did.
Mhm.
He
Yep.
did. Seriously.
It's like cancel culture was a thing when he was around, coming from the right, and he was all fighting against it. But now cancel culture is coming from the left, and he's all for it.
Mhm. Yep.
Doesn't make much sense to me,
He's
man.
paid. He's paid off.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what makes sense. 100%. That's the only part that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
J Bean says, "What the fuck? Leo ain't black with red hair?"
Damn.
Nope.
Oh, J Bean's finally here in a chat when I'm thinking about it. He actually sent me a picture of that lower that I built or that I sent him. He finally built out. If I can find the message from him. I don't know how long it's been since you sent that. Jesus. Bear with me, people.
Might have to just search his name.
There it is. There it is.
Mm,
There it is. That's a pretty good looking gun, dude.
Yep.
nicely done.
I'm glad I sent you the lower so that you could get that started.
Is that an ambidextrous or is that a mil-spec safety? Looks like a mil-spec. Either way, it's freaking
That's as big as I can make it. That's what she said.
Palmetto State Armory.
Yep.
Nice. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the you can't really see it. It's got the fucking F-15 on the side dropping nukes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's got
I
the
was hoping I would've
extended
won that.
the extended bolt release on that thing too.
Oh yeah. Oh sure, yeah. Don't you know?
Get some anti-walk pins, she'd be ready to go.
I like the rail.
Yeah, that rail's sick.
It's very clean.
MSB says, "Here's another 5 if you won't do it that way again. One Yankee is enough." LOL.
Oh, look what I finally got.
Uh-oh.
Save the fucking monitor here.
Oh, you got your heritage there, boyo. Did you get the 6-inch?
6.5.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
It's got that orangey fucking
Cocoa
starburst.
Bowl.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of that, honestly. So I refinished mine, and it actually looks pretty good now.
I started to get the one that actually had the 1776 engraved on the pistol grip. It was like a lighter
Nice.
lighter
Here, let me go grab mine.
Oh, yeah.
and it wasn't colorized or anything. It was just engraved in there, just a little bit darker than the actual color of the wood. It was very nice.
Oh yeah. Look what the smoke just put in there. 6.5. Allowed. That's what I tell all the girls.
He also said a while ago, "Damn, Corey's white too. I'm heartbroken." Well, y'all already knew what the fuck I looked like because I
Oh,
was.
So that-
it's got the off-colored frame, like the.
It had those same orange grips that you have, though.
Okay.
Here, let me turn on this light. So
Did you
can see it
finish
a little
those
bit.
too?
Yeah.
Nice, dude.
That looks
So
so,
just-
much better.
Rubbed off all the finish on them, and then I did stain and then polyurethane over the top just to make them shiny and good looking. I did kind of a shitty job, honestly, but it's good enough.
No, it looks better than that orange shit that like Xantos has.
Yeah, this is also the 9-shot version.
What? They make a 9-shot?
Yeah.
That's the
Can
one
I get
want.
that cylinder?
No.
No, you have to get the new frame. You have to get the whole thing because
That's
Yeah.
lame.
frame.
That's lame.
But the thing that sucks about the 9-shot is you can't get a cylinder for the
Magnum?
Magnum, so
Makes
it's a
sense.
trade-off.
Lame.
Yeah, that is pretty stupid, but I like that with that fake case hardening.
Mhm.
I do like this gun, dude. It's nice.
Alright. Ah, hands up.
Jesus.
I didn't do it.
shit.
It was the one on man.
You just broke some shit off the table. I got a shit ton of 22, and I was like, $100. Finally, might as well, just get a fucking Coca-Cola. Fuck it. You guys seen these? Try and find the damn box. All right, here we go.
Oh, Josh dropped in too and said, "So when's Ray Ray gonna come back?"
I want to talk to you.
Ah,
No, fuck that.
She will be here tomorrow on the gay phone chat.
These fucking things, dude. See if I can get a good. Maybe. So I don't know if you can see that.
That
The
one you
case
got
is short. The case
that
is
one you
short.
got Xanatos. Did it come with the Magnum cylinder or is it?
No, it didn't. It didn't.
so is that the subsonic one or whatever?
Yeah, the sniper subsonic 60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CCI.
All right,
Yeah, those are all right.
You can get those 22 mag cylinders for like less than $30 or right at $30.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the rebate, and I think I'm just gonna buy different panels, different grip panels for it. The orange one's just nah.
Well, since it's a cheap pistol, just refinish it yourself.
Good.
Yeah, honestly, it's not hard to do.
Yeah, it's mine.
Get a little what do you
Troll.
high number sanding paper, sand off the finish, and then troll.
Troll.
Oh, you start with the rough, right? And then you finish with the fine, and then you troll it, and then you wait till it dries, and you throw them back on. It looks pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Take you an afternoon.
Always got to
someone's
make
got a Glock.
shit.
SD.
Something on
Is
the
that
door
your-
sticking to it.
SD9, Leo.
Yep.
I
Gotta-
can tell.
Gotta have the
Let's
block.
see. Oh God, there's
Can't see
a
it.
black man pointing a gun at you.
Never mind the walls. I haven't finished the walls yet. It's not painted.
Are you smoking a e-fag?
No, it's just a regular small cigar.
Why is it blue? Is that just the lighting makes it look blue?
Yep.
So you are actually black. You just got a fucked up camera.
Yeah,
Everything's like
that's
red
what it
behind
is.
you, and on your forehead's red.
Yeah, 'cause I got the red light on.
Oh, okay.
Huh. I see.
Yeah.
I also got something else.
Oh shit, you got an emotional support AR?
This is
Nice.
that Ruger 308 SFAR.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thing is a beast, man. And it's actually lighter than my what do you call it? The little carry handle one I made. AR. This thing is crazy, man. Can't
I
wait
like
to
that
shoot
muzzle
this.
brake.
Oh, I know that thing is fucking gnarly, dude. 4-port.
Dude, it's
blade.
gonna suck being next in the bay next to you when you go shoot it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going outdoors. I ain't gonna hurt someone with that. That's
Dude, the fillings in my teeth just came out. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. I just wish I had an ambi, man. They don't put a damn ambi on here
Run that bolt
for the
again.
charge.
Damn, that sounds. I like that.
It's got a strong spring, man. It's so
Dude, my 308 doesn't sound like that.
It's because it's like in an AR-15 lower that's been stretched. Look at the back of that. It's fucking weird, dude. It's like, see if I can get some light in there.
Yeah, that is kind of.
Like it's so weird. Like, but it uses a 308 bolt carrier, which is I don't understand how that works, but okay. But it's an AR lower that they stretched to hold a 308, and then they moved. I don't know if you can see the safety and the trigger back in it to allow it to fucking shoot 308. Then they just, I guess, bored this out to take the 308 bolt carrier group, the upper. And don't worry about the stupid red dot. I'm not keeping that on there. I'm gonna get like a MSR or something or other for it.
Wait, you didn't get a $40 Vortex the other night?
$40 Vortex. Where the hell did you see those? The fuck?
Yeah, I
got
bought-
3 of them.
I bought 4 of them.
It was on PSA.
Yeah.
I'll sell you one. I'll sell you one for $80.
They had the crossfires for $40, and then they had the Spark ARs for $45.
Yeah.
Huh. The Spark's not a zoom though. It's just a one times, right? It's like a one times red dot. The Spark.
It's 2 MOA.
But it's like it's not zoomed. It doesn't have a zoom.
No. It's just a red dot.
Yeah, I'm trying to throw like a 1 to 6 MSR on there, like a Sig or a Vortex or something.
I think Palmetto still had. Here, let me look over here.
I'll hop on that too.
That was Sunday though when they had that deal and.
Well, they still had Strike Eagle. They still had Strike Eagle with a deal that was cheaper than when I bought it.
I can get one of those at my work for like $200 if I wanted to.
For how much?
200.
Okay, hold on. Because it's $389 normally, which is about what I paid, but there's some deal that you gotta fucking hold on.
Did you see
I'm gonna sneeze.
EOTech Voodoo almost half off. $8.99. Normal's $1,500.
Jesus Christ!
God bless you.
I guess they're $300 right now.
Yeah, Strike Eagle $399. Yeah, I can get that same 1 to 6 for $200. The only thing it sucks is it doesn't come with the damn cantilever mount, but the SIGs do. The SIGs come with the cantilever mount, so you don't need to buy a mount for it. You just put it together, throw it on the rifle. It's good to go.
Jesus. Daniel says, I think I ended up with 25 various flavors vortex. Vortice. 25 vortices.
And what was the sum total of everything afterwards, Daniel?
I mean, we can do the math right now.
25.
It would be a minimum of $1,000.
Yeah, that night he said it was like $1,600 he ended up spending.
$1,125 max.
Then you got to put in taxes though too. And
Yeah, taxes and shipping and blah blah blah. So yeah,
probably add another $50 to that. Call it day.
He said he did it in different orders, but I think it was like $1,600 is what he spent. So he must have got more than what we bought.
Ouch. They might have got some different variants too.
Oh, he says he got the pistol one too. Yeah, because those were like $100.
He got the little red dots. Little vortex.
What do they call them? The Vipers?
Vipers, yeah.
Are you like giving those away to employees for Christmas and shit? Is that what you're doing, Daniel?
I mean, I'll
Here's
take
your
it
gift.
if you're giving away.
Gift.
I mean, honestly, like I'd be okay with that if my boss was like, "Hey, Merry Christmas! Here's a fucking cool ass red dot." Like, seriously? Yeah.
And you go and look up the price afterwards, and it's like $200 or $300, and you're like, score! And he got it for like $40 or
$50. That red dot just does not do that 308 justice. I think that thing makes that whole gun look dinky. Dinky is all get out, especially that it's a $50 fucking Pinty red dot. It's the only one I
look good with that Vortex 1 to 8.
Yeah,
I forget what they call it. It's not the Strike Eagle. It's something different.
Yeah, I think it's still Strike Eagle though, isn't it? It's just a 1 to 8 times, or is it? No, it's a PST Viper. Pretty sure.
Oh, my buddy's got one, and it's fucking nice because it's got that first focal plane fucking zoom or whatever.
I have an issue.
The crosshair
with
gets all big and small when you zoom in and out.
Right. That one might be good for me because I have a hard time with scopes, period, because of astigmatisms in my eyes. So a lot of times when I look through a scope, gone. Crosshair's gone. All I see is whatever's in front of the scope. There's no crosshairs whatsoever. I adjust the freaking objective or whatever. Still can't get a good crosshair on most scopes.
Now, is that called astigmatism or do you have astigmatism?
I have astigmatism.
So it's stigmatism.
Yeah, so whatever. I don't know. I'm not a fucking ortho, whatever the hell you call them.
Yeah,
optometrist.
Astigmatism in both eyes.
Yeah, it sucks. Sucks, dude.
Astigmatism,
Astigmatism. Yep.
not astigmatism.
Stigmatism. Astigmatism. Whatever.
That's just where your fucking whatchamacallit, shaped like a football.
Mm-hmm.
Your
Yeah, the
retina.
cornea is the retina. Yeah, it's not shaped right.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Yep.
Mark Malone, not that not that he's like the well of knowledge in my opinion, but says no, it's astigmatism, not astigmatism. It's astigmatism.
You know what I mean. I mean, we all know what we mean when we say that. It doesn't have to be doctor
Politically correct.
etiquette.
I'm just,
Yeah,
I just want to know, dude. So I'm not fucking incorrect when I'm saying stigmatism.
Yeah.
No, I get what you're saying.
Well, you're good. I'm just saying to Mark Malone, he's always on that. Fucking gotta say it right.
This is pretty funny. This guy's like, I'm no longer supporting SpaceX and will change my support to NASA. I refuse to support any organization that hires Nazis.
Says the Nazi.
Right.
Oh, fuck.
Well, who was NASA founded by?
Nazis?
Right.
There you go. There you go. I thought that was kind of funny. Oh, did you see the new Klaus Schwab symbol that they're coming out with? The background here.
That definitely looks like a swastika.
Jesus.
Identical. Jesus Christ.
Seems familiar. I don't know.
Just a
think-
little bit.
Just today on Twitter, someone said, I traded in my Tesla for a Volkswagen. They're like, everybody just like, should we tell her?
Yeah, I'm tired about the Nazis. I'm trading in my Tesla for a Volkswagen. Like,
The people's car with a K.
Das Auto.
Das Auto. Yeah, it literally has the same angles too on the edges or the tips of this. What the swastika would be. That's the same orientation too.
Yeah, that's not even like the backward swastika, like the fucking
Indian.
Hindus or whatever.
Right.
Hindi. Yeah.
Yep.
Because that's always weird to see. You see, like, some, like, I don't know, like, Nepalese people with this swastika thing, and you're like, what the fuck? Oh, it's backwards. So that means, like, peace or something.
Love or something like that. Yeah, peace or love or.
There's
I don't
also
know,
a
something like
Latino gang in Chicago that also uses that symbol.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the leaders' nickname is Hitler. Yeah. But it's like a backward swastika.
So everyone's saying that Trump had some Nazi over for dinner. Do you guys know about this? Have you heard about this?
Nick
saw that.
Fuentes.
I hadn't heard
You-
anything on this.
I'd never even heard of Nick Fuentes until people were saying it on Twitter today, and I had to, like, look him up. And as far as I can tell, he's just, like, a super right-wing conservative.
He's on D Live. I'm pretty sure, right?
I don't even
I
know.
think I've seen him on there before, but I never really got into his streams or anything.
Right. I've heard of the name. I've heard people talk about him before, but I never really looked him up.
He's not
Yeah,
a Nazi though, because he's had all kinds of people from all walks of life on his show, like that are Trump people, people who like Trump, and gives no Nazi vibes to me.
He was saying, like, some anti-Jewish stuff when I was looking him up earlier, but I guess, like, if you go look
Zionist.
for it hard enough, maybe you'd find it. Mark Malone probably likes him.
Anti-Zionist, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
yeah.
guy I'm thinking it is. He's done a bunch of different stuff with internet drama for the last couple of years with people.
Mark Malone's probably giddy over the new fucking symbol that we just showed.
Yeah, he's gonna go join the what is this? The APEC.
APEC. Ugh.
That's gonna be his new tattoo.
See, there you go.
Of course, he
Look at
comes
that.
with his
Of course. But yeah, I mean,
My
Kanye West is
Nazi
kind of
like
nuts.
that thing.
But, like, he's saying the things that he believes in. It's not like he's, like, oppressing anybody. It's not like he has any power to oppress anybody. I don't know why everyone, like that's what really makes a Nazi is, like, the ability to be a Nazi,
Yep.
So,
Yep.
it's whatever.
And that's exactly what this global WF forum, whatever, all
Yeah,
these motherfuckers are doing.
All right, I saw this. I found this to be kind of interesting. Do I have my microphone thing on? Here.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest
responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities, the El Paso, Las Cruces communities, Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
we are concerned about trouble and trending irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 That hair.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Karen.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 Bunch of fucking NPCs.
Yep.
Read that script. Read that script, motherfuckers.
Here I thought we had a republic.
Oh, I did find. I found this video of Never Enough Ammo dancing back in the '80s. You guys want to check it out?
Oh gosh.
Do it! All right, you ready, Matt?
Do it!
Those are some Z Cavaricis right there. I used to rock those motherfuckers. Fuck yeah.
That almost looked like Matt from the range video that we saw last night.
Fuck yeah, it did.
When he shot the llama.
That's great.
Rick Astley did a cover of System of a Down, one of their songs. Oh, there it is. Keep it rated G.
Yeah. You were doing the Beavis and Butthead dance, it looked like.
Oh, God.
Oh, there goes the running man. Yeah, look at that shit.
Back when you had hair.
Not that long ago, man.
What are you just shaving it, or did you start to go bald and you just said fuck it, or what?
I started shaving it first. I started, and you can see it in my videos. I started shaving, like cutting it like that short, like buzz cut.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, I got tired of the bud cut, so I started shaving it. So I still grow hair. I just don't let it grow out. Although I'm sure it's not as much as it used to be. But
I had a friend when we were 18. He lost a bet, and since he lost, the thing was he had to bick his head and he had to shave it fucking clean with a bick. And then when he was trying to grow his hair back out, he did damage to his scalp, and it didn't grow back on top.
That would suck.
So he had a full head of hair, shaved his head, and now he's bald.
That would suck. Like if you're 40 and you do that, oh well, whatever. Who gives a shit? But 18?
Yeah, I mean maybe 19.
Sucks.
It was right around then. All right, did you guys see the German police wearing Squid Games uniforms?
No.
No.
All right, get ready for this. Look, he's got the square. Hold on, you'll see it. Oh, he's got the circle.
There's a triangle with two lines under it.
There's a triangle. Another triangle.
What's with that? What's with that?
They're probably sponsored by PlayStation.
That was good. Good job.
Yeah.
All right, and I was listening to this too. I'm just going to go through these because I've got like a million stories pulled up, so we'll just go through them. We'll run through them. I heard Michael Moore talking about Donald Trump and why people support him. And I was like, love the guy, hate the guy, whatever. He hit the fucking nail on the head on this one.
Oh, yeah.
I've
seen this.
know a lot of people in Michigan that are planning to vote for Trump. And they don't necessarily like him that much. And they don't necessarily agree with him. They're not racist, they're rednecks, or they're actually pretty decent people. And so I wanted to sort of, after talking to a number of them, I wanted to write this in. Donald Trump came to the Detroit Economic Club and stood there in front of the Ford Motor executives and said, if you close these factories as you're planning to do in Detroit and build them in Mexico, I'm going to put a 35% tariff on those cars when you send them back, and nobody's going to buy them. It was an amazing thing to see. No politician, Republican or Democrat, had ever said anything like that to these executives. And it was music to the ears of people in Michigan and Ohio and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, the Brexit states. You live here in Ohio, you know what I'm talking about. Whether Trump means it or not is kind of irrelevant because he's saying the things to people who are hurting. And it's why every beaten down, nameless, forgotten working stiff who used to be part of what was called the middle class loves Trump. He is the human Molotov cocktail that they've been waiting for. The human hand grenade that they can legally throw into the system that stole their lives from them. And on November 8th, Election Day, although they lost their jobs, although they've been foreclosed on by the bank, next came the divorce, and now the wife and kids are gone, the car's been repoed, they haven't had a real vacation in years, they're stuck with the shitty Obamacare bronze plan where you can't even get a fucking Percocet. They've essentially lost everything they had, except one thing. The one thing that doesn't cost them a cent and is guaranteed to them by the American Constitution, the right to vote. They might be penniless, they might be homeless, they might be fucked over and fucked up. It doesn't matter because it's equalized on that day. A millionaire has the same number of votes as the person without a job. One. And there's more of the former middle class than there are in the millionaire class. So on November 8th, the dispossessed will walk into the voting booth, be handed a ballot, close the curtain, and take that lever, or felt pen or touchscreen, and put a big fucking X in the box by the name of the man who has threatened to upend and overturn the very system that has ruined their lives. Donald J. Trump. They see that the elites who ruined their lives hate Trump. Corporate America hates Trump. Wall Street hates Trump. The career politicians hate Trump. The media hates Trump after they loved him and created him and now hate him. Thank you, media. The enemy of my enemy is who I'm voting for on November 8th. Yes, on November 8th, you, Joe Blow, Steve Blow, Bob Blow, Billy Bob Blow, all the blows get to go and blow up the whole goddamn system because it's your right. Trump's election is going to be the biggest fuck you ever recorded in human history. And it will feel good.
There you go.
Damn. Hard to believe he said that.
Well, he wasn't saying it like it was a good thing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, he did start off by saying, like, they're not racist, they're not, like, slack-jawed yokels or whatever you fucking said at the beginning, you know, which is what the media's been saying about Trump supporters since they turned against him after they created him, which is another good point, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Trump is going to fucking pull it off? Do you think he's actually going to be the Republican nominee, I guess? We'll start there.
No idea.
I'd like to say no, but you just fucking never know anymore.
Because there's a lot of anti-Trump Republicans. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people in the Republican Party who kind of held their nose and voted for Trump, or actively fought against him from within the system as a Republican, you know, and shit like that. So
he's got a lot harder time winning the primary this time.
Yeah.
He really does. Now, if he wins the primary, I think he gets all the votes, just like he did last time. I think he doesn't lose a single solitary Republican vote for any reason whatsoever. But it's going to be getting through the primaries that's going to be the tough part. Now, at this point, I don't see anybody who can take him on. Because, as we've talked about before, I don't think DeSantis is going to run. And I don't see anybody else.
Ted Cruz.
And Ted Cruz is not going to run up against Trump again. It's not going to happen.
You don't think so? 100% think
vote for him anyways.
100% he will never. If he ever does run again, he will make sure it is in a race where Donald Trump is not running.
Mm-hmm.
There's a handful of people right now. Pence has basically announcing he's going to go 2024.
Fuck Pence.
I know he's a Judas motherfucker.
Nobody likes him anyway.
No.
And then I don't know what Kanye is supposed to be running under now. He announced the other day.
Kanye's a joke.
Yeah.
Well, and Kanye just had that meeting with Trump, and Trump basically said, like, hey, don't run. Like, so
They said Trump was a joke, too.
Well, hold on. He says, so I help a seriously troubled man who just happens to be black, Kanye West, who has been decimated in his business and virtually everything else, and who has always been good to me, by allowing his request for a meeting at Mar-a-Lago alone so that I can give him a very much needed advice. He shows up with 3 people, 2 of which I didn't know, the other a political person who I haven't seen in years. I told him not to run for office, a total waste of time, can't win, fake news went crazy. So that's kind of twofold. That's like, what did he say to Kanye? And he was like, yo, don't run, it's going to be a waste of time and money. But he also is talking about that Hernandez dude. Like, he didn't know who the fuck it was. Didn't know he was coming. And now the fake news media is saying, like, oh, he had Nazis over for dinner, so he must be a Nazi.
I saw somewhere where, I don't know if it was Kanye asked him, but about Kanye running as his VP.
That I could see possibly being a thing.
Kanye West is vice president?
That'd be hilarious. That'd be just fucking
That'd get my
hysterical.
vote.
I'd vote for it.
Honestly. Shit, I'll vote for him just to see what they do.
If Trump won the primary and everything, how many Democrats would change their vote to vote for Trump after this whole Biden bullshit?
Zero. Not a single one.
Nope.
See, the problem is, though, is the mail-in voting in all these different states, because they instituted it because of COVID. And it basically makes it so, like, all of these politically inactive people who couldn't give a fuck about anything, who don't really know what's going on, who tacitly maybe read the occasional headline so they think they know what's going on, are going to be, and also just got done with, like, 12 years of political indoctrination by the state through the school system, are going to do whatever they're being told to do because they've been programmed to do it, and that's pull the trigger for a Democrat, right? And we saw that in Pennsylvania, where they elected a guy with brain damage. And is it Pennsylvania also where they elected a dead guy, or was that somewhere else?
No, that was
Pennsylvania. Yeah.
So yeah, 2 people in Pennsylvania, one's dead, the other's got brain damage. Both voted in because Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
So yeah, I mean, they really need to fix that, because the only reason that it was instituted in the first place was because of a sneeze and a cough that some people caught, and everyone got afraid and scared. Everyone was so scared. And then 2022, they didn't change anything. They just kept it in place for some reason. It's like once you give the government a power, they don't give it up. Once you give them a method of doing something, they hold on to it for fucking sweet life because they know that they can use it to wield power. And that's exactly why you didn't see a giant red wave.
Yep.
Well, that and the whole Roe versus Wade thing.
Yeah. If they would have waited until after the primary, we would have seen a hell of a lot bigger wave.
Dustin Butson, I'll do the Yankee thing. Dustin Butson dropped in $5. Best hunting rifle for a 10-year-old. 30-30 is too expensive right now. 6.5 Creedmoor, I guess is the C. Yeah, it's Creedmoor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or 270. He likes his 20 gauge, which is fine in our area, but not where we hunt.
I'd say 6.5 Creed because 270 can be hot.
Yeah.
Or 243.
243 is good.
Get him the bolt action 7.62 39. No, I'm serious. That'd be a great little.
It'll reach 300 yards.
I mean, it's not going to be like that powerful where it's going to hurt you, you know?
Right. It's not going to kick like a mule.
Although those bolt action 7.62s are goddamn expensive, aren't they? For some reason.
Unless you get a ranch. You get a Ruger ranch. You take AK mags. You go 5 rounds.
Yeah, but even that, how much are those? Like $500?
Yeah, around there. Not terrible. I think I've seen them for like $460.
Yeah, that's like 500. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's not going to be much else in a 7.6239 that's going to be cheap.
Right. I'd say for a 10-year-old, just go for like 243 or something.
Yeah,
Just
243.
I would just get a 223. You do 223 bolt actions are cheap as shit. The ammo's cheap as shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can't always hunt big game with 223 though, depending on which state you're in. Like in Colorado, they don't let you hunt with 223. It's got to be at least like 243, yeah, or 30 cal or something. I forget what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't let you hunt with 223.
You got to have I think it's above 115 grain or something like that. Pretty sure. I think that's one of the rulings. It has to be above 115 for deer, I believe, or maybe it's 90 for deer, and then elk it has to be above 100 and 40, 130 or 140, somewhere around there in Colorado.
Hey Matt, when you come out, let's like poach an elk together. It'll be fun.
Oh god,
let's do it. But with our bare hands.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's what I was thinking.
The elk was trying to attack you, is what you do, and you had to defend yourself.
I was afraid for my life.
Someone else has got to be there to take a video of this because we want to see Matt or Honda go end up riding the fucking elk bareback.
Oh gosh!
At least you grab the fucking antlers to rain them down and end up taking off with them.
At least use a bat and some golf clubs.
Oh my!
Is moose good? Like to eat?
I've heard it is. Yeah.
Yeah. No idea.
Because I've lived in Colorado basically my whole life. I have literally seen a moose one time. But I've seen elk a whole bunch. I've seen deer more than I can fucking count. But like you never fucking see moose.
I've only seen moose in Wyoming, and that was close to Colorado. I've never seen one in Colorado though.
Dude, those fuckers are huge.
Yeah,
they are.
Goddamn, like bigger than you ever fucking thought if you've never seen one. Like if you've never seen a moose in person, they're like 7 feet tall at the shoulder, and then their head sticks up like 3 feet taller than that.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen one of those survival shows where they're left out there to survive the longest. And the guy hunted and caught a moose and bagged it. And he said his favorite part was the nose. Eating the nose of the moose.
Well, that's just fucking weird.
Since we're on the subject, check out the link I just shared there.
Which animals could you beat in a fight? Dude, house cats will fuck your ass up, though. Like this one time, my roommate went out of town. And he was like, do whatever you want. Just make sure you shut the door so the cat doesn't get out. I'm like, okay, got it. See ya. So I had my girlfriend over, and we went outside to smoke a cigarette. And she forgot to fucking close the sliding glass door behind her. And the next thing you know, the fucking cat is walking on the outside of the rails on the patio, and I'm like, oh fuck, and I try to grab him, and he jumps to the roof, right, like across the way, like there's like a little like side roof area that he could jump to, and so we're like, fuck. Well, she crawls out onto the roof, and I go on the ground with a blanket, and the whole idea was she was going to catch this fucking cat, and then, like, lower him down and then drop him to me, and then I was going to swoop him up with the fucking blanket and then run back inside, right? That was the plan. Well, she caught him, and she dangled him, and she dropped him. So far, so good. I try to catch him in the blanket. Try. This motherfucker's not having it, right? So when I try to, like, get him, he doesn't fucking get. And he gets out of the blanket and he starts running, and I'm like, I can't fucking let this cat go, dude. I told my roommate, like, the one thing I'll do is not lose your cat. So I grab the fucking cat, you know? And he starts clawing and biting. He gets my fucking hand, and he's just like, and, you know, like, I get him inside, I throw him inside because he's biting me so bad it hurt. Well, that shit got infected like a motherfucker. My hand turned into, like a fucking, like, Krusty Krab claw, you know? And I had to go to the doctor and get antibiotics. Probably have, what's that shit called? From cat bites and scratches?
Cat scratch fever.
No, well, there's a technical term for it, assholes. Toxoplasmosis, thank you.
Vagina dentata.
You're now a werepanther.
Dana says, you all ain't even considering most red states will suspend their primaries because he is technically incumbent.
They might. I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I didn't even think of that. Are you incumbent, though, if you, like, lose your re-election and then you, like, wait 4 years and run again?
I don't know. That's where the technical comes
No,
in.
you're just a dude at that point.
So it depends on what... Yeah, I don't know.
Like, in the history of America, has anyone ran for president, lost, waited 4 years, ran for president again, and won?
Yes.
Yeah, it's happened.
In, like,
Won,
1860 or something?
I don't think anybody's won again, though, have they?
I think there was one, and it was, like, one of the early presidents, like, not a founding father, but, like, the guys directly after them.
Those assholes.
They ran, but I didn't know if any of them actually won.
I think there was one. I'm trying to remember, because I think there was one that was, like, a vice president who became president, like, really early on because the real president died or whatever. And then they ran, like, way long after that and won.
Pat Wright dropped in $10 for the pets and vets.
$10
For the 308, check out Arcan Optics. They have a 6-24 by 50 first focal plane for $299. Rex 170 for free shipping. Sorry if it's off topic, late, takes forever to type when driving. You should probably pull over if you're trying to type that much out. Jesus.
No shit.
Jesus, man.
I do like first focal plane. I know Matt doesn't like it, but I like that first focal plane, man. It's kind of cool.
I'll have to look into that. Does it have a huge? If it's a 50, it has a huge bell in the front. I bet. So I'd have to get like risers for it, or a riser for the rings.
What are you planning to do with your 308 battle rifle? Like, what is the point of the gun?
Be able to put shit down at 300 yards, easy.
Like, you're going to be hunting with it, or is it going to be like a DMR or some shit? Or
DMR setup for sure.
Because a 1-6 makes a poor DMR rifle scope. I'll tell you that.
Like 1 to 10, like
the 1-8 would be better. 1 to 10 would be even better than that. Like 3 to 9 would probably be acceptable, you know, kind of shit. Or like this guy's got the 6-24. Like that's what you really want is like high fucking max fucking power. You want max power.
I had a 624 Vortex and I had to return it. It was like $700 Vortex. I can't remember if it was a Diamondback. I think it was a Diamondback. And it was the I think it was a 624 actually 50, and I could not see the crosshair on that son of a bitch at all.
Oh, because of your stigmatism?
Yeah, my astigmatism though. Yep.
Your stigmatism was getting in the way?
You know, couldn't see shit except for what was in front of objective, basically zoomed in.
Can you get eye surgery for that shit? Do they do like the laser fucking LASIK shit for astigmatisms?
I'm scared to do that, bro. Scared as fuck. No way.
Yeah, same here.
Dude, like the failure rate is like 1 in a million.
Yeah, but still, you're having a fucking laser on your eyeballs. That's just one wrong move and your eyeball's gone. You're
that
blind.
Yeah, that. And what if you're the 1 in a million?
Exactly.
Then you get to sue the fuck out of him, and you're only blind in one eye. It's great.
I don't think you can sue him though, because you're agreeing to the operation, the procedure. Pretty sure they got some small font in their fucking, waiver to do it.
Well, that's why you got to read everything thoroughly before you fucking sign.
Well, how can you? He's got astigmatism.
I can read. I just can't use a scope, man.
I feel like that's legally actionable. I don't know. I couldn't read the small print, so.
Oh, yeah. I could read the small print because my eyes were already fucked up before you fucked them up more.
Dude, it's crazy how they do that shit though, because there's this little fucking layer of, it's not skin on your eye, but it's like skin-like material, and they cut it off, right? And they take like this like very, very thin layer of like clear material that's kind of like skin, but it's not. And then they shave your fucking lens with a laser, right? And they fucking shape it and make it all good, And then they put that skin back on, and they just leave it there. And it like heals up and grows back, and fucking you're good to go like a day later. From your stigmatism.
Still scary, dude.
Yeah. Is it worth suing after you lose your eye and get millions of dollars, but you're still blind in one fucking eye?
Oh, now I gotta sell all the guns because I can't use them. Freaking can't see shit anyways, so just get rid of the guns, I guess.
Well, that'll pay for the fucking eye surgery, at least.
Yeah.
Dustin Butson dropped in $10 for the P's and the V's. Says, we're not actually giving any of this to pets or veterans. I'm sorry. I'm not a pet or a veteran. We can use 223 here, but he's also a scout for a 9-year-old. He's also stout for a 9. I don't know why I read scout. For a 9-year-old. 4'10", 130 pounds. Next season, he'll be old enough per Minnesota regulations, so I don't want to go too light. And as I said, he loves my dad's 30-30.
I'd say 6'5". 6'5" is probably good. Or 308. I mean, get a 6'5" PRC, potentially. Spend a little more on ammo, but it's got a little more kick.
What caliber do you say, Matt? 30-06?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a good one.
For a 10-year-old? Well, he's 9 now. I don't know, you put a muzzle brake on it, it doesn't kick too bad, right?
Right.
Just makes the guy in the bay next to you kind of fucking hate your ass.
Look at Noreen and their 8-port brake on that AR-30 that they make is in 30-06. Holds 20-round mag, and they're shooting that thing like it's no one's business.
Can you hunt with a 50 BMG?
What the fuck are you hunting with a 50 BMG?
Anything you want.
I'm trying to hit the bear. I'm trying to hit the grizzly bear behind that grizzly bear. Okay? That's what I'm trying to hit. I'm shooting that thing.
I'm just saying, you might go big or go home. Might as well. Like, what is there a limit though? Like, is there a rule against 50 BMG for hunting anywhere?
I don't think so.
I don't know. You could probably do it. I don't know how good the meat's going to be after that 50 hits a fucking elk, though.
Well, I mean, you still got like the hindquarters and shit,
Yeah, the hindquarters.
Hit the fucking the elk up by the shoulders and neck area, and it just rips the whole fucking top half off.
Yeah, Daniel's got it. Squirrel. Go hunt a squirrel. Just turn him into red fucking dust.
Pink mist.
Yeah, pink mist. There you go.
I mean, how large is like the elephant rounds?
They're
like
nitro.
Like 700 nitros.
Yeah.
700 Nitro Express or whatever it's fucking
Those things are gnarly, man.
Yeah, they're fucking massive.
How bad does that kick compared to like, I don't know, like 12 gauge or something?
Yeah,
double.
Double or triple. Those fucking things.
30-06?
No, 700 Nitro.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. I'm zoning in and out. Go ahead.
I've seen some videos of people getting scope ringed by that so easy. So easy. And they're doing everything right, and they still get scoped by that son of a bitch.
Get knocked on their ass.
Fucking out.
So all you got to do is take your bicock out and shoot both barrels at the same time to get the effect. Then, yeah, it's the double bicock.
Yeah,
double bicock blast.
Well, they make a double bicock that shoots those big ass fucking gnarly rounds too.
Oh.
Throw an RMR on top for close up. There you go. I actually just got a couple of sets of those 45-degree iron sights because I've got a couple of rifles that, it'd be nice to have a set of iron sights on, and with the scope setup that I've got on them, you can't have flip-up sights don't make sense. Right. I'm interested to see how good they work, how accurate you can be with them.
I had a set on my one of my ARs. They didn't really hold up over time though. One of them ended up breaking.
Well, I'm sure you fucking catch him on everything and bang him on everything, so that getting him out of the safe is going to be a bitch, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel says squirrels plus 50 equals fun.
What you ain't eating squirrels? That's true. Just turn them into pink mist.
Dude, I think if you shot a squirrel with a 357 Magnum, it would fucking turn into pink mist. You don't even need a 50 BMG.
10 mil, bro.
Yeah, regular hunting rifle versus squirrel equals pink mist.
Yeah.
Yep. 50 BMG plus squirrel equals what squirrel?
Right. There ain't nothing left on that thing.
Go groundhog shooting with fucking or mole shooting.
Oh, with the 50 BMG, just stuff the barrel in the groundhog hole. You kill half the ones that are in there.
Yeah. You didn't blow up the barrel.
Right.
You make squirrel soup.
Oh,
Daniel dropped in $2. 45-degree irons is gay. Just saying. Well, I got a couple of flip-up sights, too. I could run the flip-up sight, but it's the scope would have to break, and I'd have to take it off the fucking gun for them to flip up. So that's why I'm going 45.
Well, why don't you irons are nice just for that situation. Your scope goes down. You don't have to worry about taking the scope off or anything to use irons. You just flip the rifle over a little bit, and there you go. You got at least something you can shoot with.
Well, don't they make those mounts that you can stick your optics or
RMR?
And it'll just flip it over to the side.
Yep.
That way you can use your flip up irons instead of having them at a 45-degree
angle.
I think flip your optic out of the way.
Yeah. Like a riser that flips over to the side.
Exactly.
Unlock it. Yep. I think I've seen those. I don't
the fuck are you talking about? They don't make scopes that do that.
No, you get it's like a cantilever, but it has a hinge on it, so you can move it after you unlock it, and it moves it over, puts it at a 45-degree, and you can see your
so you can use your irons.
What are irons?
Irons.
Fuck you.
Big iron on his.
You use them with your britches and your biddles?
Biddles, not biddles. Biddles.
In your troll?
Iron is a high point. You take the slide off.
You still say it wrong. You still say it like it's two words. It's troll.
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 Y'all darn troll, man. God, dude, being sick sucks. This sucks.
You want me to call the ambulance for you?
Try to think of something clever to say back, but I got nothing. There you go. Just blow my nose at you.
Get it all out.
Yep.
Is that a queef? Was that a nose queef?
Dude, it's starting to hurt to blow my nose because I've been blowing it so much. I'm going to turn into fucking Rudolph over here.
Yeah.
Then you got to go like that and fucking pop your ears every time so you can hear again.
Right.
I only open my mouth like that for you, Corey.
Ooh, kinky.
Don't let him lie. He opened his mouth like that to everybody in Tulsa.
Yeah.
Oh.
Josh dropped in $2 and said, I heard 50 BMG and maps is a fun combo.
Yeah.
It would.
I mean, they do go on the wall.
I don't think it's that kind of map.
Yeah, no, it is. It's because you hang maps on the fucking wall. That's where they fucking go.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
I don't know what you're trying to say either.
Daniel says you were definitely right about the shitbag in Colorado. Who are you talking about? Jason Crow?
Oh shit.
He is a shitbag. He's a piece of shit. He's a fucking gaslighter. He's a liar. He uses everything as political ammo to throw against whatever fucking side he can. He takes notes from Nancy Pelosi. He's a fucking piece of shit. He is the worst version of a politician, and he happens to be in my... He would have been who I voted against. But he won by like 1 million votes because it's Colorado.
Yeah.
Taxation without representation.
He might have been talking about the guy that did Club Q because that dude's now non-binary, supposedly.
Oh, yeah, I definitely called that shit, didn't I? I 100% called that shit. 100. If you go back and watch that chat, I called that shit. You're fucking right. I did call that shit.
Okay,
you're
you
saying
do
a non-binary shot at the
understand
gay club.
that it's already been said by multiple people that nobody in the entire existence of fucking knowing him had ever heard him identify as that, and it was suspicious that he shut his fucking mouth as soon as he got arrested, and it was only his lawyer. And if you actually read what his lawyer said, he said, "You may only address my client as they and this and all that stuff." It sounds very much like he decided to do this because he's fucking with people.
Fine.
It does not sound like this is something that fucking he did, that this is like, oh, this is how he identifies. He's doing
Okay,
this
2 points on that, Matt. 2 points on that. There were exactly 3 people that I saw talking about that who were his friends and family, right? The interview with his dad, who looks like he smoked all of the meth in the world.
Yeah, that was fucking wow.
And then there were his 2 friends. One of them was non-binary, and the other one was obviously gay. So he's hanging out with a non-binary and a gay person, and his methed out father were the 3 people who fucking said that. Maybe there's someone else. I don't know. Maybe there were other interviews. I haven't seen them. Those are the 3 that I saw. And coming from those sources, I wouldn't doubt that they would be either holding something back or, you know, because of their political alignments or whatever. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying, it is very convenient and suspicious, and certainly something you would expect somebody who did what he did to do, which is, as soon as he gets arrested, tell his lawyer they have to refer to me as they, them, to make a fucking point.
God damn it. I don't mean to laugh at that. It's not really funny on the subject matter.
Let's be honest.
But it's kind of funny.
Is that not what you would expect somebody like that to do after what they just did?
I mean, yeah, I guess. Yeah, it makes sense. I'm not saying you're not right. I'm not saying you're not right.
I'm not saying I'm right. I have no idea. I have no fucking clue. I'm just saying if it comes out that, like, yeah, he completely did that, you know, to fucking troll or whatever the fuck, like, I'm not going to be surprised at all. If everybody else comes out of the woodwork and goes, yeah, he, you know, family members and all this shit, and they're like, yeah, this is not, no, he didn't do that, like, that was not him, he fucking, you know, whatever, like, I'll be like, yeah, well, you know, makes sense. Because, like, if you were in his position and he was obviously, I think, making a point in some way, shape, or form, like, what the fuck would you do? Yeah, call me they, them, motherfucker. You better refer to me as they, them.
Well, I mean, by the leftist ideology, all you have to do to be non-binary is decide that you're non-binary.
True, absolutely true. Which is why he can get away with it.
Right. And Daniel's saying, Daniel dropped in $2. I'll stop doing that. I'm sorry. It's getting annoying. It's getting annoying to me, so I'm sure you guys are like, fuck you, Honda. Left saying now you can't be non-binary with a beard. Oh, they're changing the rules.
There are many, many non-binary people out there who were born female that have beards, I'll have you know.
It's true. It's very true. All right. Next story. We've been, we're going to fly through these, and then we just got on discussions.
Mm-hmm.
The day our elected officials hid the efficiency, effect. Yeah, that's not efficiency. Efficacy of hydroxychloroquine. It confirmed they would kill us to beat President Trump. Never forget the evil we are fighting. Kid Rock.
My name is Kid. Well, I'm sorry. That was inappropriate. I apologize. I apologize sincerely, people.
Man who accidentally left 300,000 guns for Taliban gives lecture on gun control.
Yeah, that's where we all need to start throwing that shit back in his fucking face. Tell him to shove his assault with his man up his ass.
We've got the Warrior Poet Society, the sad story. Yesterday, an old friend suddenly died, leaving behind wife and young children. Healthy, no warning, just died. This kind of thing didn't used to happen. But I know I'm not supposed to question the players who made a fortune over the past 2 years, right? Have you guys seen Died Suddenly?
No.
Is that a movie? What is that?
It's a documentary that just got released last week.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
I posted it in the Discord, in my Discord. If I can find my Discord. Really, really good watch. Really, 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 really good watch. You guys need to check it out. God, I guess I posted it a while ago. Yep, here you go. Died Suddenly. World premiere. So this is from a week ago. It's about an hour and a half long, like 90 minutes. But it's fucking worth it. And you can skip the last like 20 minutes of it because they're just like all the people being sad, you know? But,
yeah, fuck those people. We're doing a perfectly good documentary. Bunch of fucking assholes.
Seriously though, guys, if you go to my Discord, go to 11:23 is when I posted it, the 23rd. Watch that shit, man. Worth your fucking time. Worth your time, and it's all interviews with like it starts off as interviews with coroners, and it's like 25 or 30 different coroners who were like, yeah, we didn't start seeing this till 5 months after COVID vaccine rolled out. Yeah, I didn't start seeing this till 5 months after the COVID vaccine rolled out. And they're pulling these like weird fibrous material blockages in people's arteries and veins 3 feet fucking long that are not blood clots, because a blood clot is made out of blood. This is made out of they were saying it feels like a rubber band, or it feels like calamari or something, right? Inside of people's veins, from head to toe, in large arteries, inside the heart. And you got to imagine if it's in there, it's in all the small capillaries and shit where you can't fucking pull it out of. And the thing is, like, they have to do it to get the formaldehyde or whatever it is that they pump into them when they fucking embalm somebody, the embalming fluid, because their body won't fucking like allow blood to flow through the body. Because what they do is they like cut a fucking thing in your arm, like in your neck, right? And that's where they pump shit in, and they cut another one on the opposite side of your body on your leg, like the femoral artery in your leg, and then they pump fucking shit through you. And they can't get it to go through until they dig out these fucking calamari fucking strands inside of the people's veins, dude. And it's person after person after person after person after person after person after person who's saying, like, yeah, I do an embalming every other day. I do 5 a week. I do like 3 a week. I do like 1 every single day. Like, all of these people are talking about how many they have. And it's all traceable to people who've gotten the jibby jab. And if you don't have the jibby jab, like, you know, you're fine. And they're talking about like coffee grounds inside of their blood, like weird fucking shit that comes out of people that shouldn't be there and stuff like that. Chris is asking, what is this documentary? It's called Died Suddenly. Again, go to my Discord, go up to 11:23, the 23rd of November is when I posted it. And I've got a link to it. I think it's on Rumble. I thought it was incredibly interesting. Oh my god, did you guys see this? Balls of Steel award goes to the Rare Breed Trigger for getting the remnant stock of the WOT triggers and selling them.
What?
So Rare Breed, if you guys don't know, was that company who got raided by the ATF, got all of their inventory and stock taken. They've got all of the people who they've sold to, all of their information, and they went door to door to those people and said, "Yeah, turn in your Rare Breed trigger because you've got a machine gun."
I remember that. Yeah.
So the WOT trigger is another company that stopped making them and went out of business or whatever. Rare Breed bought up their stock and they're now selling their shit instead because they're just like, "Fuck you." And the best part is 100% of the proceeds are going to fight against the ATF and like all of the stuff that they're dealing with the ATF right now. That being said, you might be buying a machine gun according to the ATF, end up getting caught with it or whatever. I can't say I recommend buying this particular product, but you know that the money's going to a good place. So, hey Corey, what's up, Corey?
Yo, what up? You hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Damn
I see
it.
some
Now we got
people
two
in here I haven't
Corys.
met.
We got all the Corys.
We've
are
always
here.
had two Corys. He's the original one. I'm the fake one. Nice to meet you.
Nice, man. How's it going?
I'm doing good. I've been working on the summit, so I'm sorry I can't always join your calls, but I appreciate you always reaching out and all the work you've been doing. Like every week, it's great. You're keeping up, keeping consistent. That's the key for live streaming, man. Doing it well.
That's what I do, man. Even though I've got fucking like COVID AIDS right now, like I'm fucking sick as shit, bro.
What COVID AIDS? What are you talking about?
It's like
That's when
COVID
you
mixed with
fuck
AIDS
somebody-
inside of my.
He fucked somebody at work who already had AIDS and then caught COVID.
Yeah.
So just pass it along.
Interesting.
It's mostly inside of my nasal passage and lungs and throat, but you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
What have I told you about letting somebody ejaculate up your nostril?
Who was that guy who fucking blamed getting throat cancer on his ex-wife?
Michael Douglas. And tell me that is not the ultimate fucking insult to your ex-wife. Yeah, her vagina gave me cancer. Like, come on. That shit's great.
That's cool, man. So when's the summit? When are you doing that?
Oh, the summit is in like 5 days, bro. It's
shit.
Yeah. Do you know who David Icke is? Someone in here's got to know who he is.
Yeah, I know who David Icke is.
I'm interviewing him as well, and that's like probably the last interview I'm actually doing. But got to make sure I include him because if I have the opportunity, I'm like, hey, yeah, interview him. Not about reptiles, don't worry.
Yeah, that's the only thing that he talks about that I'm like, dude, really? But he talks about New World Order,
but he talks about everything, dude. He talks about everything. He's not afraid, and I like that about him. You know what I mean? It's like
you know how we got to start, right?
Getting attacked on TV in the 60s.
Well, he started off as a soccer news reporter or like commentary guy or whatever. And like he got tired of just like talking about bullshit that doesn't matter and then decided to like use his skills as an oratory whatever person to like talk about things that he thought did matter. And then he got into reptiles and stuff and he kind of lost me there for a bit, but
yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, he talks about everything. I mean, he's got a book literally like everything you need to know. It's like this fat. It's like, more than the Bible basically at this point. But but his intent is like pretty simple about like, love and peace and all that jazz. So he's good for the End of Slavery Summit. He might introduce some spiritual aspects to it, but generally speaking, it's going to be so powerful, dude. Like there's nothing else on the internet like this. Like there's nothing anywhere on the internet even close to this, even just the size. And I'm one man running the whole thing. Like I'm I have the whole website stinking, like all the interviews, like resources, extra videos, action steps at the end, which like nobody in independent media talks about. It's over. Like it's gonna be great.
Okay, so real quick story for you and then a question.
Sure.
I got into a fight with a family member.
Jeez.
Based upon political stuff, and we were talking about the word slavery. And where does the word slavery come from?
Okay.
And we were saying, and you literally wrote a book about slavery, so this is why I'm asking you about this.
Mhm.
The word slavery, originally in English and several other languages, comes from Slavic people being taken as slaves by the Byzantine Empire, and then that word Slavic became shortened or slang or whatever it was into slave in different languages, and then now that's what it means, is slave. It's not that the Slavic people called themselves slaves. It was that they were taken as slaves, and the name Slavic became synonymous with the word slave because they were so many of them that were slaves. Correct?
Yeah, that's totally correct. I mean, based on, again, like my research as well, of course, looking at words, but yeah, if you go to etymological dictionaries as well, that affirms what you just said.
Dude, fuck that guy. Got uninvited to Thanksgiving thanks to that argument.
Yeah, darn it.
Yeah, not even
just
cool,
because
dude.
of that. So what did they say? Like, they didn't like your definition.
He was saying that I was saying that they called themselves the slave people, and I didn't say that. And he ran down the rabbit hole with that and fucking said a bunch of other stuff, and it wasn't just that.
Imagine fighting over words.
Seriously, no, it was a bitch move, dude. 100% bitch move.
Well, you
It's
just
okay,
don't have
though.
Thanksgiving with them, then you know better.
Yeah, I made better turkey than he makes anyway.
Show him.
Daniel
Kill it
says,
yourself,
"Would you
right?
go on?" Oh,
With your
good.
AR. Sorry. Boom, bam. No.
Kill a turkey with a 50 BMG. Get turkey dust.
The saying, you're the if anyone's gonna do it, it's gonna be you. I'm just putting it out there.
Oh, there's other people that would do it. Not
Well, I'm
just
sure probably on your channel, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But I mean, I gotta learn more about that stuff. Just saying. Like, I still need if I need to learn something about guns, I'm going to you. You know that, right? Like, if you're gonna invite me one day, I'm gonna be like, all right, I got a bunch of questions for you.
You need to get yourself a handgun. Okay, so there was this interview with a Venezuelan survivor, let's say, of the socialism that's been going on, of the shitty government that's been going on, of the crazy hyperinflation that's been going on. And they were like, okay, if you could go back like 6 years or whatever and take your money when it was still worth something and buy some stuff to prepare you for what you've gone through, what would you buy? And his answer was 5 years worth of food and a Glock 19. So those are the two things that I think that everyone should have, because honestly, dude, I think we're heading for fall off the cliff, hyperinflation, shitty time in America. And where are you going to run to? There's no America to run to from America. Like Venezuela, at least, you could get enough money together or whatever, hop on a boat, get on a plane, hike, ride a motorcycle, whatever it is, and eventually come to America where you can find a job and, be okay. But
Guns
there's nowhere to go.
Arguably, like, the most important. You know what I mean? Like, because let's say you don't have food. Like, you don't need food. You could just hunt. And then it's like you also have self-defense, and then you also have like trading materials. Like you got so much with guns. I'm just saying, like, it seems to me like the best thing for survival. But of course, pacifism's not bad either. Just saying. People forget that part.
Well, there's also the thing
you
called
can talk your way out of most scenarios if you're good at talking. Just saying.
What is it? The non-initiation of force, right? Which is technically pacifism, in a way. Is you don't aggress against someone
Not
unless they
initiation.
do against you. Are you going to let them fucking rape your kid in front of you? Because
That's why pacifism is against self-defense. It's not against initiation of. Well, it's against both. That's what I'm saying. But there are two separate things: initiation of
understand.
violence versus prevention of violence. But yeah, I agree, man. I'm just saying that you can give more credence to pacifism, just as the people who are new age meditators who all believe about pacifism can give more credence to guns and self-defense. You know what I mean? It's like the scientists who are like, we hate religion. It's like they give no credence at all to like the hundreds of thousands of years of religious texts that have some basis in science.
I can honestly say that I'm not a pacifist, but I also am not looking to get in a fight with anybody either.
exactly.
Those two things can be true at the same time.
Yeah.
Daniel says, dropped in $2 and said, "Would you go on Kriegler's show, on Adam Kriegler's show?" Yeah, sure. Why not? I just watched his tell all about Tim Pool earlier today. Did you guys watch that?
I heard about it, but I haven't watched it yet.
Basically, he says that Lydia's a whore. And like, even though she was with somebody and then Tim had a girlfriend, she would like hang out in his bed and like wait for him to come by and like try to like fuck him and stuff like that. And I guess maybe it happened once or twice. And then he was also really upset because his girlfriend had an abortion and she was like giving him a hard time about abortion and calling abortionists murderers. And that's why he went off on her. And that's why he's not on the show anymore. That's the 5-second flyover. That's what I took out of it anyway. Yeah, I'd go on Kriegler's show. Why not?
So you're going to watch the summit, Honda, and you're going to be like, man, these anarchists, they know what they're talking about. They're more self-defense, pro-self-defense than anybody else. You're going to find out. You're going to be like, these are my type of people. Guarantee you.
I'm okay with that, but my thing with anarchy is it works on paper, right? But what happens when Attila the Hun comes by? Or like a 21st century version of that, like a gang of dudes with guns, and you're in your small community of anarchists, and you're not able to like, you know, have the ability to fight against them. Or what happens when China comes by and says like, hey, anarchist country.
Power back.
So I've covered all of these in separate videos, and it's also all debunked in What Anarchy Is Not by Larkin Rose. Like it basically debunks every single possible scenario in like the easiest, most common sense way. It's like it's such easy answers. I mentioned already, like I kind of answered that question last time I was on here with you. So I'm not going to go into like too much detail. I might just have to like post a clip so you can rewatch it.
I have a question. Where can we watch the summit at?
So go to endofslavery.org or just look up the End of Slavery Summit.
Okay.
And that there you should find it. Yeah. And that also answers everybody's questions. I have downloadables in there where people can get those books for free, so people can do their own research and think about it. Because you know, I was Republican, right leaning before I started to understand the nature of freedom and slavery. You know, you're like, what would the slaves do if they were freed? Oh my gosh, they'd run amok and cause so much chaos, and we can't let them be free. Freedom has to be feared because we fear of the possibilities of chaos, and therefore we fear freedom. I'm like, no.
Are you saying the Republicans wanted the slaves?
Well, I'm not sure what you just said, but if I heard you correctly, you're saying Republicans are supporting slavery. If that's the case, yes. Both Democrats and Republicans are supporting slavery. And same thing with libertarians. If they're in the political voting process, they're legitimizing the idea that you need permission to be free. But of course, this is all covered in the summit. So if this comes as a surprise to anybody new to it, I wouldn't blame you.
Well, but that's based on modern interpretations of what political parties have become. I mean, there is and I think you're making that distinction, right, between a person who is, let's say, a right-wing Republican or a libertarian or whatever, and people who are involved in the political process, because those are two very different things. Yeah, I wouldn't say that the average person who votes right-wing or libertarian is particularly fond of slavery or in getting rid of their freedoms, but the political process we have allowed to fester in this country has made it to where if you are to be involved in it, you are in some way, shape, or form going to be involved in the creation or, you know, rule of laws that have already been created that do nothing but restrict freedom.
Yeah. And even if you were to say, like, let's get rid of those laws, you're still accepting the idea that you need to put someone in a position to do that has more rights than the average individual. And that's where it gets dangerous, is where we become dishonest with ourselves or add aspects of illusion to the idea of natural rights. Like if we understand we all are born with the same natural rights, and of that is freedom and the right to your own property. Just go along the lines of property. You understand, like, why is people taking my money in this thing they call taxation? How is that any different from theft? Right.
No,
So
it's not.
That I can agree with.
It's just organized theft that comes from a predetermined point in society where they've said, okay, well, we'll accept this level of theft in exchange for these things. And the problem is that always grows. And once you get people in positions of power to make those decisions, even if the people who were originally there who made the deal with society were good people, well, those people aren't going to be around forever. And like with anything in just, matter of being human, there are good people, there are bad people, there are people who are indifferent or who will, stand by and let bad things happen. The nature of setting up any sort of society that is based in any form of government that seeks to, for whatever its originating purposes were, seeks to exert some form of control over any portion of a population will eventually become corrupt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, it's supposed to be ruled by the consent of the governed, but I don't remember giving consent, right? We were kind of bored into this system that already existed, and we're like,
well, because by the time we came along, it was already corrupted.
Exactly.
So
And
the whole idea of consent, if you want to destroy the narrative of government in basically like very quick amount of time, read Lysander Spooner, No Treason, the Constitution of No Authority, written in 1848 or something like that. And this small pamphlet will literally destroy the whole worldview of consent, because he basically proves from a legal and moral point of view, because he was a lawyer as well, that nobody ever gave their consent to the system that be. And I did several interviews about that as well. And I also have that as a free downloadable as well in the summit. So, but yeah, everything you said is makes total sense. The thing is, though, is people forget the moral part of the story always, and they always are willing to throw away their morals for some greater good collective justification, like communism does, right? It's like, let's violate the individual for the collective. Like, oh, okay, so let's take money from this guy to provide for everybody else, and that way we have equality and we have justice, and it sounds all super good until you end up with World War II. Because if you allow any wrongdoing, it's bound to grow, and people forget that part. So if you allow anything that is basically illegitimate, and to be wrong, it's going to inevitably grow. It's like, well, we can have limited government or limited slavery. One whip a day. It's like the slave is still getting whipped. It's like, oh, we can just do a tax cut. It's like you're still getting stolen from. It's like if you continue along that justification, then that's going to inevitably grow, because you're not being clear on your principle.
No, I can agree with that.
No, it's true. I mean, that's
the thing
exactly what happens in every society.
The thing that I don't see is how you take the society that we live in currently today from where it's at to where you would like to take it. That's the leap that I don't see how is made with, especially like the average intelligence level of a lot of people in this country.
Right. Well, you're not going to. It's not going to happen. Not like what we're talking about. You're never going to get. You're never going to get this society. Well, no, I mean, it's not that it can't happen. It's that you're not going to get this society to change into that. Whatever version of that is. Obviously, libertarians have one version, and there's the anarchist dream, and there's a lot of other shit to that. And there's plenty of people who have this vision of what society could be if we just did this, and this, and got the government out of our lives and did this and all this kind of stuff.
That's
the problem is with this society, it's not going to happen. So what it would take is for something so drastic to happen that this society crumbled first.
So I don't think so. I mean, a collapse and stuff can happen as we see it's around the corner, and people will become desperate. They're probably just going to want more authority, not less. People like yourselves might be more self-sustainable, be like, yeah, well, screw the government, we can live on our own. But there's a lot of people who are going to be like, I want help, and it's like they're going to be looking for the person who they can violate
it won't
their
happen.
rights.
It's because there are too many people in modern society that have no mental capability to fend for themselves in any way, shape, or form, nor any desire to. And if something bad did happen, The only way they would fend for themselves is if absolutely forced to by the fact that there was not a sustainable government or overseeing force in place to take care of them in any way. So you would have to have a complete collapse to convince, I would say, 90% of the population in first world societies to live by those rules or to change that system, as if the other system was just gone, because they would have no choice.
And then the other part makes things worse, because that's where anarchy is seen as chaos. Because in the anarchy, what I'm talking about is no rulers, right? Not no rules. And so the thing is when people don't have self-control, and and all of a sudden the government just disappears tomorrow, which doesn't happen, by the way. But let's say it just did randomly, it would just go back to the way it is now very easily, because people believe in government. They believe in it. So it's a mental state. It's a mental state of slavery, I would say. Mental slavery. Statism is what it's called. And until you shatter that belief system, it's always going to rise and fall.
But that's part of humanity. I mean, any system you put into play, because we're tribal in nature, and we factor that in even when it doesn't exist. We push it into all aspects of society, and we've historically done that since the beginning of us being on this planet
6,000
into
years.
forms of government. We've always pushed that. What we call government today used to be the leader of the tribe, or whatever it was.
Slavery. So again, we abolished chattel slavery after like 4,000, 5,000 years. That's an accomplishment. And how did we do that? We did that through moral education. That's it, purely. Like literally now, nobody won't even try it. People won't even try it because they recognize it as wrong. That's where we're going to get with this knowledge. I guarantee you, if enough people start to teach it and learn it. It's all.
There's a lot of countries today that have.
Well, there's more slaves
traditional
today than there was for the entire Western slave trade. There's more slaves right now as we're speaking.
Yep.
Across
Now it is
the world, but not in the U.S.
No, not in the U.S. But there, it's just, it's not
because we were sharing the moral principles. That's the point. So all I'm saying is, morality drives everything to freedom, right? I mean, think about the technological age. If we didn't have the ability to communicate or the ability to have media and all that, we would be less free as a civilization in many regards of information, because it's knowledge that ultimately frees the humankind. I mean, even Socrates, the philosopher who got hung, by the way, by his own government, and they also burned all his writings and all this other stuff. Plato is like one of the only accounts for Socrates. He said, the only good is knowledge and the only evil is ignorance. And frankly, that's the answer, is just education. Of course, not distraction education like we do have now, where it's just people don't even want to learn. They'd rather distract themselves or learn useless knowledge that doesn't help them at all. It makes them actually the opposite.
The other major problem that I see, and let's say that there is some sort of a downfall or downturn of society or whatever you want to call it, right? There's also those in power that will use Hegelian dialectic type methods of gaining more control. They're waiting for that to happen. They're waiting to institute their new levels of control when people come to them, like the people you were saying, of help me, I can't feed my kids. Okay, I'll feed your kids if you give up these rights, if you give up these, your ability to defend yourself, your ability to travel, your ability to do what you want to do with your time. And the other thing that I was going to say is, you say we don't have slavery in America anymore. I would say we have an evolved kind of slavery, like a slavery with extra steps.
Yeah.
In which, what did slaves get for their slavery? Right? They got a place to sleep and they got food. And in return for their backbreaking labor, which is more than we're doing now, I would say. Honestly, it'd probably be worse to be a slave than a modern day slave. But in return for their backbreaking labor that they got back then, they got a place to sleep and they got food to eat. Most people in America today work their asses off, go to their 9 to 5, so that their kids can have food, so that they can have food, and so that they can have a place to sleep. And they don't have much more than that.
Well, because, and we've talked about this before, slavery didn't end; it just evolved.
Lysander Spooner said this
it just changed
after the Civil War. This is a lawyer, and look him up if you don't know him. This is a true American hero. This guy we're never taught about in school. I did a video recently just on him, and it literally says on the thumbnail, it says the man you're never taught about. He also wrote about this. He said the war was not for the betterment of the black man. In fact, it just made slaves of everybody and brought them into what he called economic and political slavery. So he distinguished chattel slavery from those two other kinds. And again, I mean, this guy his writing is, you read this, it's like amazing. It doesn't require any crazy translation because he's from America and, he was living during the time. He was making a big impact. In fact, he was pro-Constitution. Despite being an anarchist, he was pro-Constitution because he wanted to use it so that the lawyers can understand, like, from a constitutional point of view, like, slavery is wrong, even though he personally did not support the Constitution because it's just a piece of paper, which is actually natural law is more important, he declared. He also has a writing on that. But it's just amazing work if nobody knows about him. He goes into basically what you guys just said. And he was like, and from the very beginning, he's like, we need to defend the slaves. We need to capture them, like bring them back, like free them with firearms. And a lot of people were against that. Lysander Spooner was like, we need to go, like defend them, arm them. And they did not like that, a lot of the abolitionists, because they wanted to be peaceful and they were afraid that the media was going to keep attacking them. Like, he was brutal and he was amazing, man.
Let me hit these super chats real quick. Daniel was talking about going on Kriegler's show, and he dropped in 2 more and said, I'll see if I can get you the hookup. Dude, I'll go on Kriegler's show. I would love to. I always like to expand the horizons of people that I talk to. It's always a good thing for me, and it's a good thing for the channel, and it's a good thing for the audience, and I think that it would be fun. It'd be a good time. Josh dropped in 5 and said, I'll support anarchy if I get to kill, steal, and take any woman I want with no recourse to me. Like, that's the other kind of anarchy that people think about when they think about anarchy, right?
And they're not anarchists.
Yeah, so there's a difference between what you're talking about and that type of anarchy, which is literally without rule of law, like, no rules at all, no rulers, but also no rules.
Which doesn't make any sense, because you can't, by definition, you can't have no rulers unless you rule yourself with rules. I mean, so it's self-contradictory. Like, you can't be like sovereign and a slave at the same time. Like, these people call themselves sovereign citizens as well. It's like, how could you be a citizen and sovereign at the same time? These people don't even run through their own logic.
Well, I think the founding fathers basically said, like, the Constitution and the way that the form of government they set up would only work with an educated population who also has, like, Judeo-Christian background. I forget exactly how they put it, but, like, without the morals that come from the Christian background that a lot of them had, like, how are you supposed to implement this form of government? And the answer is it doesn't work without it.
Not Christian, but deist, I would argue, but I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I forget exactly how they put it, so...
I have actually their writings, like, here, and all the deists that inspired them, and there were a lot of people behind the scenes. The unfortunate part was the Constitution came in, where a lot of censorship happened, even back then. Like, we think censorship is a new thing. Like, censorship has always existed. Back then, the anti-federalists were like, no, don't pass this Constitution. First of all, people aren't consenting to it. Number 2, it's going to grow the government, not limit it. And they were right.
It's like, what was the first thing the federal government did after they beat the British?
It's like, whiskey rebellion.
Wasn't it the Whiskey Rebellion, where there was a bunch of people who were like, yeah, we don't want to pay taxes on the whiskey, fuck you, and they had to go in with the army and fucking put them down?
Is that...
I'm saying, like, from day one, we had problems.
Yeah, Calhoun said... Yeah.
That wasn't real anarchy. Real anarchy has never been tried. That's the no true Scotsman.
No, it's practiced every day, if by voluntary interactions. Like, I would argue. I mean, every day, like in the food supply chain and a lot of other chains, there's not a lot of coercion for people to do things. They do it because they know they need it. Like, it's just simple economics, right? Supply and demand. If there's a supply, demand, there will be a supply. This is why you have all the anarcho blank, narco this and narco that, because they all like to talk about economics all day. But it's true, economics is a big part of it.
Well, I did listen to Stefan Molyneux quite a bit. He considers himself to be an anarcho-capitalist.
His work is amazing. Yeah.
I do like a lot of what he talks about, peaceful parenting and stuff like that, and how by not hitting your kids and not being violent towards them and using reason and stuff like that, you actually increase their IQ by a full standard deviation. Because, like, if the kid is always worried about what's going to happen as a result of the thing that he might say, then he's not thinking freely. He's more worried about what might happen, and that's how his brain gets wired. Versus if you give him the ability to think freely by not having that threat of violence against him from a young age, that they're able to develop in a way that, you know, works better for, what's the word I'm thinking of? Creative thinking, you know? Like they can be much more creative and much more independent and think outside of the box rather than always having to be inside of the box. You create people who are not good for government. That's what you do when you do that.
Exactly. Yeah, but you also create people who are not prepared for the real world.
I'm not saying
the real world is violent.
There's a difference. Well, yes,
the consequences can be violent in one form or another. And your kids have to be prepared for it. I'm not saying beat your kids. I'm against beating your kids. I do think your children should know that if they do something bad enough, that is something that is on the table as something they might experience. And I think if they know that, then you never have to do that.
I don't hit my kids. I spanked them to my own forever fucking, you know, disgrace when they were little, not like tiny, but you know, like when they were like 5 years old and they would do something wrong, I'd give them, you know, and it wouldn't be to hurt them, but it's just like tell them like, yeah, I'm bigger than you, I'm stronger than you, you have to do what I say.
No,
and I don't.
If you were doing
that.
it for that reason, and that was the wrong reason to do it.
Well, because they were doing something wrong, and it's a lazy way of parenting, and I recognize that now. It would have been better to say like, here's why you shouldn't do that. Let me explain it to you rather than spanking them, you know?
Well, and that works great if you're talking to a 16-year-old. If you're talking to a 5-year-old, you have to explain it in a way that they understand. And sometimes that can be with words. In fact, most of the time, 99% of the time, that can be done with words. But there are times when it cannot. And the point is never to fucking be like, I'm bigger than you, stronger than you, do what I say. That's never why you should punish your kids ever.
Yeah, at least he's being honest.
That should never.
I respect that.
Well, I was simplifying it too. Like that's not exactly the reason either. You know, it's like you were going to put your fingers into a socket and electrocute yourself to death. Let me give you a spanking so that you know not to do that, because I'm not going to be able to explain it to you right now because you freaked me the fuck out and I'm pissed off and upset.
Yeah, no, that's not a time when you spank your kids. There are times when you do, which should be very, very rare, because if you're doing everything properly, I mean, really just the idea that you've spanked your kids once in their life is enough to make them realize, oh, this is this might be a consequence. Because you have to understand children, like mentally, there are just only so many things that they can comprehend as a consequence of their actions in a way in which it's something that they would view as negative that will make an impact to make them not want to do it again. And you talking to them, especially some kids at some ages, is not that thing. But sometimes a smack on the ass will get a child's brain to remember, this was something I was not ever supposed to do again.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and I'm not saying it's every child. It's not
with
every
my dad.
Child, but
I got beat. You know what I mean? It wasn't like
fucked up.
It wasn't like fucking a spank on the butt. It was like black and blue on some spots, like bleeding, hurting for days, that kind of shit.
Well,
I have never done that.
That was abuse. Kids. That's what that is. That's fucking abuse.
I've never done that to my kids ever.
I
gave them a on the butt when they're like doing something messed up or when they're being mean to their brother or whatever? Yeah, I have. And when was the last time I did that? Probably about a decade ago. Like it's been a really long time.
Well, again,
honestly.
And it's also based on the child too. Like I have one that I've never ever had to spank because if she gets in trouble, I can literally look at her the wrong way and she cries. Right? Like seriously. I got 4 kids, man, and there's one I've never had to spank. And I never will.
Is that the youngest?
Because the youngest. The baby. And that's because I can literally look at her the wrong way and she will crumble.
Wait, Honda, I just recognized you have to activate Windows. Well, I'll message you.
Yeah, I've already gone through it with him.
I am not spending money. I'm not giving those assholes a fucking penny.
I wouldn't either. I'll message you back. Anyways, sorry, I didn't mean to mention that. But yeah, there's other ways to handle it. You recognize that.
No, and I do, and I haven't, like I use logic and reasoning, and I talk my kids through when there's a problem that they're having with the way that they're acting or with what they're doing. I tell them why it's wrong.
You have like several speakers on parenting, and they're also like free books on like parenting. Like it's amazing. So,
well, and what I was going to say is like that was the main takeaway that I had from Stefan Molyneux, who I started listening to about 12 years ago, something like that.
Yeah. Isn't it funny? If you look into philosophy, you're going to end up at the Anarchist, guaranteed. Because as you go down that moral path, it's almost sort of inevitable. Like our founding fathers got kind of close, but I mean, some of them were still slave owners, and they were fighting each other with different things, and they didn't have it all figured out. I wouldn't blame them, but they definitely were like a stepping stone in the right direction, nonetheless, for recognizing inherent rights or freedoms or property. Self-defense is a big one, of course. Without self-defense, you can't defend your freedom. You have no freedom, basically. That's why if anywhere is going to be free first, it's going to be America. Just saying.
Yeah, we got more guns than everybody else put together.
Yeah.
We got more guns in America than there are people. Probably twice as many.
And the military probably has like 80% of them, right?
No, actually.
No.
Hopefully not. I'm just throwing
civilians have more guns than the military, but the military has bigger, badder, fucking crazy
Faster
shit.
guns.
Yeah. Well, they have things that aren't guns. They've got like F-15s and, tanks and shit.
Tanks and...
Yeah, like Black Hawk helicopters.
Apaches.
Carrie C dropped in $10 just to drop in $10. I appreciate it. That's a cute doggo you got there. I like it. Very nice, very nice. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You want to answer this question, Honda, or you don't want me to? I don't want to take over your stream. Like I feel.
Well, let me read it first. Calhoun Republic dropped in 5 and said, "So what keeps me and a couple dozen of my friends from forming a gang/militia and just taking everybody else's resources, women, under anarchy?"
Those other people.
So you want me to answer?
I mean, we all watched. What was the name of that documentary?
Jericho.
Jericho. Thank you.
Yeah, Jericho.
Great
Have you ever seen Jericho, Corey?
No, I haven't. I would have heard of it though.
It's a TV show. It's not actually a documentary. I say documentary because I'm being funny.
Is that a place?
It's a fictional place. It's like a post-nuclear war like TV show about what would happen in an anarchist society when there's like groups of people who band together and for mutual protection and stuff like that and trading and yada yada yada. It's actually really good.
I mean,
it's a damn good show.
Yeah, but like, so if the show starts off though where like the world is ending, it's not probably a good place to expect real anarchism, because obviously what I'm saying is real anarchism is you have to teach people how to be free. So that would entail like arming them, teaching them self-defense.
Well, that all happens in the show.
How to grow their own food type of stuff, right? So you want me to answer this question? So he says if a couple of my dozen friends form a gang or militia. So you can start a gang or militia, which, by the way, already requires a status type of mindset, because unless like you're all in it consenting to the same thing, yes, you can gather a bunch of people and say, hey, I want to take this person's resources. But how much harder would it be in a world where you don't know really what to expect of what other people have, and everybody has the ability to self-defend themselves, and everybody's on the look for it, because otherwise they wouldn't be free. And frankly, it's just much easier to conquer an area of the world where people are not armed, as you guys would know. And if people are armed, it's much harder to conquer that area. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. And also with technology, it's easy to see what's going on. If the general populace is free, because that's what anarchism is, then they would understand the importance of self-defense. It's probably how they got there in the first place. So they would prevent further uprisings like that, because they, one, wouldn't believe in authority, statism, and two, they would have the ability to self-defense and a lot more abilities to do so than they do now, by the way. And those are probably the two main arguments, but there's others. And again, that question is also answered in the What Anarchy Isn't in Larkin Rose's book, where he says, what if warlords take over? And then, like, you know, who will build the roads, and like every other excuse under the sun, which you can come up with hundreds and thousands. But the point is like you could do the same thing with chattel slavery. It's like, what if this? What if that? you know that it's possible for people to live free without coercion, and that's all it is to have freedom. Is to have people saying, yes, it's wrong to violently coerce another against their will. That's what it means to have anarchism. So if somebody is attempting to get rid of that, it relies on the mass populace to recognize, like, say, yeah, that's wrong, and therefore defend themselves and their own property. It's just that simple. You don't think people are going to come together to defend people that they know are right?
Wouldn't that be kind of like government, though, in a way? Like a bunch of people coming together to defend people? Isn't that like a form of government coming together to like mutually defend?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm all for private police, private defense, all that. The thing is, when you have a centralized, sort of police force that has given special rights over the people and consider vices as crimes, then, I mean, basically anything can be a crime. And their whole system is just not based on consent or based on mutual aid like that. No. And it's statistically proven also that, private police and all that works better than all these centralized police where they become corrupt and think they have this huge ego. It's you can look at it under every single lens of perspective and it just tears apart.
But I mean, that's so okay. So on a base level, what you're talking about is essentially the same thing some of my anarchist libertarians friends talk about. I mean, that's essentially what they are, is what you're describing. Mm-hmm. And that's really cool, except it's not sustainable with human beings. It never has been throughout history, because eventually someone or a group of someones get together and start doing things that society thinks is bad. And then they do it anyway. And then they do it through violence and force. And eventually you get...
But that requires statism.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. That's not going to go away. You're not going to get rid of that mentality. It's just human beings. That's where tribalism...
That's where statism comes from, right? So it's not part of human consciousness or psychology at all. This is intentional indoctrination into following someone and thinking that they have more rights than you and thinking that they're authority. It's like thinking like, oh, this person's a king or a queen, therefore they must have more rights than the average.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about
people did for thousands of years. People thought like royalty, these people like with crowns have actual like rights that other people don't. And then our founding fathers are like, what are you talking about? These are just human beings. Like, so what? They were born in this bloodline. That doesn't make them any special.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about
this is what we're talking about.
No, I'm talking about what we as a species, as has been proven time and time again, have.
But if you're saying people consensually get together,
which is the idea that we need to group together to survive.
Yes,
and that only in every single example throughout human history has eventually led to the formation of a government, and every formation of a government has eventually led to some form of restrictions on freedoms or massive restrictions on freedoms. And I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong or bad or anything. I'm just saying, if you want that, the key is A, like you said, to educate people, and then B, to be able to know how to handle it when those things happen, because they will happen. Eventually, one group will gain a level of power in a given area, and
literally thousands of solutions.
Well, I'm not saying there's not. I'm just saying that it's going to happen. It's going to be a problem in any society. If you take society back to its foundation and erase all government and restriction of freedoms and everything else off the table, eventually that will grow back into society. So the key, yeah, absolutely. It's been proven in every society.
You have to explain to me the difference then between a voluntary organization or private police versus an organized mafia or someone that has an organized monopoly on violence, which is known as government.
What's
Two very big distinctions.
No, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, if you can make that distinction, you'd understand that government is not the same as people coming together. Like hierarchies are very good, and there's voluntary hierarchies, all over, people do it all the time, like I said, in different industries to this day. But of course, politics, we give it the exception. It's like every law that's passed must be backed by violence to get something done. It's like, and this is the only way we get things done. It's nonsense. So no, we can cooperate without violence. That doesn't sound too hard for me.
I'm just saying, in human history, we've never done it though.
Yeah, and I'm willing to attest to that fact,
at least not for any extended period of time. For brief periods of time in certain societies, it happened.
But that's because
but
they
it has
believe
always
that
evolved
violence is
into something
necessary.
more.
They believed violence is necessary. Again, violating the individual for the common good.
Well, violence is necessary to an extent. Violence is necessary. It's a part of every. It's literally a part of every living organism on this planet.
Violence is not.
Well, okay, but again, it's a part of every living organism on this planet. Even there are plants that enact in what we would consider violence. So,
but just because violence is done does not mean it should be justified. If
I'm not saying it's justified. I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong, or your ideology is wrong, or that what you want is wrong. I'm saying that only in every instance in human history has it been proven that society will only do that for so long before it starts to again become corrupted, whether that's by a government, a king, a gang, whoever it is, whatever group of people eventually come along and co-opt that freedom and co-opt those individuals, and usually not even through force. Hell, most of the time they do it by simple coercion and saying, well, if we do this, this is better for everybody. And eventually it rolls into what we have today in all over the world. So I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm saying that it won't happen for long. And the key to fixing that isn't just, let's just get all to this place and educate everybody on how good this is, because eventually that's going to go away. You have to get to a point, and I'm not say whatever about the Constitution or anything, but if you read through other governing documents throughout history, it is the one that had the best chance of saying, okay, we know at some point this is all going to go wrong. And so we're trying to give you the power to fix it when it does. Now, that hasn't worked out for us because we all got too fucking lazy to do anything about it. Okay? But you have to get society to agree, because you can't just be like, okay, we're going to go to anarchy and everybody's going to be free and we defend ourselves and we defend our neighbors and we do this and we do that and then we have a private police force and do all this stuff. And everything's going to be great. You have to prepare society for the fact that everything's going to be good for now, but eventually it's not. And you or your children or your grandchildren or your great-grandchildren are going to have to be prepared to redo the system every few generations, because it's going to get corrupted, because that's what humans do. That's what every species on this planet does. I mean, it's literally in our nature. So you have to have something there that is going to allow for the people to go, okay, it's gotten too far. We need to reset.
Yeah, you're making all the same arguments I hear from a lot of people, and that's fine. I've made the same arguments before in the past. I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and I'm going to see what you have to say. Do I have the right to steal your stuff?
As far as I'm concerned, no.
Okay, do you have the right to steal my stuff?
No.
It depends on my
mood.
Can
you give that right to some group?
No.
I mean, here's the deal. If you can't stand on one moral principle, then it's all out the window. If you can't say there's such a thing as individual rights and individual property and ownership, you're willing to justify it being, violated for the collective. That's what's been done throughout history for communism, Nazism, and all these different ideologies. Is let's share some truth, make it sound good, and you know what? Make people think that they should worship one person or few people, should give them more rights, and maybe even convince them that they do have rights. And from there, they're easy to control mentally, and the physical violence will also keep them in their mental slavery. It's no different from slavery. And you're 100% right. What you're directly pushing for is slavery, because you're claiming some people should have the right to rule over or control another. Now, even if you say, "Oh, no, they don't," even if you say, "Oh, well, no, they don't," you're saying it's going to be worse off in anarchy.
No, I'm not. I didn't say that at all.
Okay, hold on.
I said you have to have a mechanism in place for society to recognize.
I think your mic is off.
Yeah, your mic's really low, dude.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying once you get to the point where you have created a better society where people are free and all that, there has to be a mechanism in place to react to the eventual downfall of that freedom, because it will happen.
Which is yourself, is it not? You defend your own freedom. Do you not?
Of course I do. But that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
There.
No, but that's naive. That's naive to think. If I just think I can defend myself, nothing bad will ever happen. Because realistically, one hurricane, one bad drought, one bad anything will turn people against their neighbors in a split second. We see it every day in this country, the first world nation. We see it all the time. Example after example after example. And if in a bad time, when there is no government in place to come save you, and enough of your neighbors find themselves in a bad situation, and here comes Joe Blow saying that, hey, I can fix your problems. All we got to do is, get together and make some key choices and everything.
That's voluntary.
Yeah, it is. But
okay, am I loud now?
That's not a government.
Yeah, that's how all governments start. They're all voluntary, and they all become corrupt.
So the main problem that I think is being exemplified in this discussion right now is, yes, while we all here agree that we have the right to protect ourselves, that we have the right to our property, that we do not have the right to steal from one another, right? And we can all agree on that. There are always going to be elements of society that don't give a fuck about your rules, that don't fucking care.
That's exactly why we need anarchy.
Well, but the thing is, so what do you do about it? So you get together with a couple of people and you say, "Hey, buddies of mine, we need to get together and circle the wagons so that we can protect the children, so that they can grow up, so that blah blah blah." And what happens with that? What is the end result of that?
That group gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Bigger and bigger, and over time, it turns into effectively a statist government, which you are advocating against, right? I understand that. But I'm saying human nature, because of the fact that not everyone's going to agree, because you cannot educate people into not stealing your shit, right? Because you cannot educate people into not killing you or raping your wife or whatever, you're going to have to band together with groups of people. Those groups of people will become larger over time. Power corrupts, right? So you give power to these people to do things to go around and protect the group of people or whatever. And eventually that has happened in America, or other countries, every fucking country in the history of countries, every group of people in the history of groups of people, going back to tribalist fucking communities of people, had hierarchies that were corrupt in some level, that did things that were fucked up to some people that they did not agree with, and I don't think you can get around that. It's human nature.
If you can look at my summit and debunk all 50 speakers, I'd be really open to hearing about it, because you're not connecting the idea of power with voluntary cooperation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people are always voluntarily going to come together. The difference is when you have statism, it's people believing that other people have the right to use violence. That's a very big difference there, right?
It's not about starting with statism. It's about the fact that it's about starting with the fact that
that's what creates the state.
Human nature in every example in human history, okay, eventually leads to larger and larger groups eventually telling people what to do. And it always starts out from a good place, and it always starts out with neighbors defending neighbors, or neighbors helping neighbors, or this or that, and it grows from there. And that's just how societies have been. And I'm not saying it's not an admirable goal or something to try and achieve to not allow that to happen. What I'm saying is, if you want to do that, you have to have a mechanism in place for the people, once they recognize that things have gotten out of control, to be able to stop it and start over again. And you can't just do that by saying, well, because we'll just all be educated enough, we won't let that happen, because that's never happened in human history. And we have all the evidence in the world to prove that people won't be smart enough.
Why can't we be educated? We have technology and mass communications. There's no problem why we can't. Except people denying the fact that we can,
it's because it's never happened. So you'd be talking about the first time in human history.
This is called the most dangerous superstition, because believing that you can't be free, or that you fear freedom, which is sounds like a fear to me when you're like, oh, people do this, but what about this, or what about that? It sounds like you don't want to be responsible or try to teach others how to be free.
Dude, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. You're putting shit on me that I didn't fucking say.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
Okay, I didn't. You just said you, so I didn't say that, and that's not what I'm even talking about. And you keep making it about something I'm not talking about.
I can't address everything you mentioned, though. It's very difficult because
it's a real simple concept. Eventually, societies, no matter how freedom and whatever they are in all of human history, eventually start to go down the path of corruption in one form or another, where one group or one person or whatever it is, one tribe, eventually becomes, for lack of a better term, tyrannical towards others, whether it's the entire group, the entire population, all of society, or certain groups in society. So you have to have something that when that begins to be recognized in society, because it eventually will happen, you have to have a mechanism in place to stop it.
I get it. You already said this like 100 times. Let me ask you a new question.
But you're not listening to me. That's why I keep saying it, because you keep making it into something I didn't say.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. You think that
I have to repeat myself.
But I've had these positions before, and I've addressed them, and I know not a lot of people look into it, but it's fine. I'm going to ask you questions. So if I do something wrong, are you guys going to notice it's wrong?
Not necessarily.
Right. You need knowledge to know that it's wrong, right? Based on the actions, based on the effects, right? Like, does it cause harm to someone? Now, this just sounds like a really simple concept, but it is, because let's say somebody in a police uniform carries out that same action. Are you going to see them the same way as the other person who committed the same action?
Yeah.
A lot of people are not going to see them as the same person just because one of them is wearing a uniform and a badge. That's called statism, believing that certain people have the right to do so. So when you get in organized groups, and as long as you're not committing forms of violence and proclaiming that you have the right to commit violence other people don't have, then guess what? You're not a government. Because every government in history has done that. Since the very first government, the first form of systemic slavery. You want to talk about slavery? Let's talk about it. The first government was the first form of systemic slavery, Sumeria. Okay? They captured their slaves, their citizens, by the way, that's literally their citizens, by going to war, capturing them, right? And forcing them to submit. Okay, so this sounds like this, what you guys are saying. Yeah, we build a militia, we build a gang, enough to capture these people. Guess what? They had no self-defense mechanisms. These guys had no knowledge. They captured them, and they kept the knowledge away from them, had no ability to read. That's why the slaves didn't know how to read. No ability to self-defend themselves. So they had no choice but to be slaves. And then new slaves were born into that slave family. It looks like they have a citizenship, and they don't see a reality outside of it. So what you have in today's world is the same thing, where we're born into a system, we feel like we're a part of it, and we have these obligations and this duty to obey an authority, which they self-proclaim for themselves, and if you don't obey, violence will be done unto you. So it's always the backing of violence that makes it government. That's why it's monopoly on violence. We can get together, but it's not a monopoly unless everybody legitimizes it and says this is the one source of violence that's legitimate in society. And that's what we have with governments in today's world, because people legitimize it. And the only way they legitimize it is through a belief system of thinking these people have the right to commit a wrong action, but these people do not. Do you understand?
I understand that, but what I'm saying is, how do you get that out of society?
Right, and that's kind of the issue that I think we're having, is that there's always going to be an element of society that's not going to agree with what you have to say, who's always going to commit violence.
Ignorance is the only evil. That's it. We live in a world,
and there's so many people in this country that are so stupid, so low intelligence, so low IQ that no amount of education is ever going to be able to overcome that.
Do you want me to sit around and be like, "Oh, these people are so dumb. I'm never going to convince them." And
I'm just saying, like, it's a problem that you have to deal with if you're going to actually be able to implement this.
So why you tell me the problem if I know about the problem? Unless you were just like, "Well, it's not possible because nobody's ever going to listen." That doesn't really help us move in that direction, does it?
Well, no, how do you? Okay, so how do you get around those people? How do you make them comply with the system?
You free yourself, and you bring others who understand the same knowledge with you, and we create our own societies. And that's what we're doing right now. We're literally building our own communities, and we don't need the system anymore because we'll create our own systems, and we have all the knowledge and the tools to do so.
Yeah,
There's no reason why we can't. Throughout history, we could not, because throughout history, again, we were enslaved, we were pillaged, we had no self-defense mechanisms all throughout the world, and nobody had the ability to free themselves. They didn't have any knowledge to do anything. Now we have so much ability, we're basically destined for freedom. because knowledge is directly correlated with freedom. You cannot achieve freedom through any other means than knowledge. You can try politics, but it's only temporary and it's only going to result in more problems, as we talked about before. Knowledge is the only path there. It's it. There's no other way to get to freedom.
Okay, let me just finish this part by just saying, philosophically, I agree with you. Philosophically, I think that you're on the right path. I think that, like, even if we don't agree with
I don't want you to.
elements of society that
and then come back to me. I have literally 100 resources, and unless you look into at least one, how could you say that you've ever looked into it? You don't know the people I'm mentioning. You know what I mean? Like
this
the
isn't
point
about
of
other
education
people.
is to get it out to people, and then you're like, well, how are you going to educate people? It's like, this is an example. People refusing to take the education in. So, okay, I'll join the people who do want to educate. But then you guys are going to be stuck in the system, and you're going to keep playing the game. And I don't want you guys to be in that game. If you care about freedom, then you care about knowledge.
But the point is, this is not a debate on what other sources there are out there or anything like that. This is us, me particular. Okay, this is me. I'm not going to speak for anybody else. This is me bringing a point that I know to be true in the human species and trying to ask you, okay, well, since we know this is a problem and that eventually what you're proposing would have issues, how do we get past those eventual issues?
So
That's what I'm
I'll
asking.
answer this. I'll answer. Ready? Freedom means what? The ability of possibility. So you can do anything you want. So I don't get to decide how everything works. You don't get to decide how everything works. We all get to decide what works basically for ourselves. That's how freedom operates. By definition, you're not free if you're given one solution to handle everything. Like, wow, I need to ask the government permission to defend myself. I can't defend myself. I need to give my responsibility away to others, which you can't do, by the way, because only you can be responsible for your own actions. Now, even in the case of private police, even then, you're still responsible for your own actions, but at least that's a consensual agreement. So the thing is that it's just about coming down to honesty. If you're honest with yourself and you really apply the moral principles, you don't want contradictions in your thinking. You like the philosophy? Well, philosophy can't have contradiction. And so we can go down any route you want, but I don't get to decide how everything works. You don't get to decide how everything works. That's what freedom is.
Yeah, that's the point. And so you're advocating for a society where we all just kind of do our own thing. And, if we
as long as we don't believe that violence is legitimate,
yeah, but some people always will. You're not going to weed that out of society.
Some people always want to do that.
The question isn't
freedom. You can't. You're forgetting the human element that's always been there and always will be there.
Which is
it's a great fairy tale what you're proclaiming and talking about.
What's the human element?
But in actuality,
I want what you have, and I will do what I want to do to get it.
Okay, that happens now. And like Plato said, bad people will find a way around the laws. Good people don't need laws to tell them how to act responsibly.
So what are you going to do to the people that continuously do what they want to do and it hurts others? What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
I'd say put them in bars, behind bars.
Okay, so you want to give a special group of people the right to coerce others into doing something for what you want done.
It sounds like that's what you want too, though. When you get a group of people together, you're going to say, we're going to stop this group of violent people. Like, hey, there's 12 people who are being violent. We want to stop them. I can't do it by myself.
Right there,
I need a bunch of people with me. So let's get together and we're going to coerce these people into doing what we want.
Violence isn't okay.
All right.
I'm talking over people.
This conversation's not gonna go anywhere.
It needs
apparently,
to be more directed. There's obviously too much information, which is why I'm leading you to the resources. I'm sorry, I have no choice. But if you want, I have videos, like literally 600 videos, one in like every single topic, and I have documentaries on why limited government doesn't work and why society works perfectly without government. That's like 4 hours long. Goes over every single perspective possible, like hundreds of resources. So if anybody cares about freedom, then you go there and then you become a teacher like the hundreds of teachers that have now grown out of the woodworks just the past year. Because guess what? We're tripling and quadrupling in numbers. And I guarantee you in the coming years, you're going to see this being talked about a lot more because people understand that knowledge is freedom. And until people understand that, like, politics is just like a useless, like, dead horse at this point. It's not going to do anyone ever any good. And same thing with law, man-made authority, man-made law. it's worthless, and people are waking up to that fact.
But if knowledge
on
is
health
freedom,
level, on every single level possible.
So if knowledge is freedom, why when we ask you questions can you not answer us with that knowledge and just tell us to go watch your videos?
I did both.
Like, I'm literally asking you the same question over and over again.
I
You
answered
haven't
the
answered
question,
me yet.
but you can't answer my questions either. Like I asked him, like, "Hey, so what would you want done?" He's like, "Well, I want violence to be justified in this scenario." It's like, okay, but if
That's
you're saying
answering your question, so what's your answer to that?
So you want to justify violence? If you want slavery, just
Yes,
be open.
violence is definitely necessary in human society on occasion. There are
So
times
you think
that justify
slavery is
violence.
necessary because that's violence technically.
No,
You're putting someone under your
So
will.
because some violence is necessary, that must mean all violence is necessary. That's your line of thought. So if I advocate for a killer who raped and murdered people being put down by society because he doesn't deserve to live, that's the same as slavery to you? Because that's what I'm talking about.
Violence.
Sometimes violence is necessary.
That's not violence by definition.
Okay, but whatever you want to call it, that's what I'm talking about when I say violence. I'm talking about.
So please make the distinguishment because
violence has a very simple definition. Violence has a very simple definition. I don't know what your definition is. I know what
I'll give you
basic
the definition
is.
Violence is the initiation of force to coerce or compel another individual against their will.
Yeah, that's necessary sometimes.
Or self-defense,
because some people are bad, and I don't want you to go kill somebody because you're a bad person. That's not. Violence is violence. Sometimes violence has a horrible reason for it to occur, and sometimes violence is necessary to stop further violence.
It's like whoever throws the first punch is not the same as the person who's defending themselves. Would you recognize they're two separate things?
No, I would not, because there are plenty of people who need to be
your
put
philosophy has contradiction. I can't talk.
How does my philosophy? So you're saying if you come across a person, let's say, okay. Here's a good example. The guy who famously, there's a video of him shooting a child molester in the head who molested and killed his son. He technically threw the first punch by shoving a bullet in the dude's brain. Was that wrong?
It was for self-defense.
How is that self-defense?
You're saying that
how is that fucking self-defense?
He's preventing a problem.
The guy was already going to prison. The guy was already going to prison for the rest of his life. He was probably never going to hurt another person. Period. Was that wrong?
What are we talking? Like, so the guy.
I'm talking about a very famous video online that you can see everywhere, and we've all seen for decades and decades of a father.
Whoever throws the first punch is the problem.
Obviously. So the father was wrong for killing the child molester who murdered his son.
Well, that already implies that has the self-defense.
Well, he already went through the system. He was
really
being punished.
Logic.
How is it simple? I think it is simple logic. I think it's absolutely simple. I think in that moment, that father had every right to put that son of a bitch down.
Yep.
Yeah, if he has a right to, because somebody did wrong to him, right? Because a right is not something that does wrong.
That's still violence. And he threw the first punch.
He didn't throw the first punch. If you said because he did it, because of something that was done wrong to him.
Okay, so what is your definition of throwing the first punch?
Yeah,
so you're saying, so let me understand your definition of violence. I want to make sure I understand this because I'm going by the common definitions for violence. Your definition for violence is if somebody does something to someone else when there is no reason to do it to somebody else, i.e. that person did nothing to them first in any way, shape, or form, right?
Violence is the initiation of force.
That's not the definition of violence. Maybe your definition. That's not the textbook definition of violence. But so I'm trying to understand your definition of violence.
I'm trying to simplify it as much as possible. Like you're
saying the initiation of force. Sometimes there is a bad person who's done absolutely nothing to the person who initiates violence, but that person was bad, and the people that person was doing bad things to,
what makes him bad?
Could not or would not defend themselves. So instead of allowing that person to go on and continue to do bad things to other people, person who
bad? Well, listen, and you'll hear what he's saying and stop interrupting.
Well, I need to break it down first. Like, what made it
There's
bad?
a dude who goes around, I don't know, raping little children.
Okay, so he did wrong already.
But how is that self-defense? If the person who puts that person down and throws the first punch or the first bullet or whatever it is had no stake, none of the people that were hurt were his family or friends or anything, but he knows this person is a bad person. He knows this person has done horrible things, and he decides to take the first step and enact violence on the other person to stop further violence.
It's not a first step, but okay, if you want to say it's the first step, sure.
Okay, well, so I'm just trying to figure out what your definition of violence is. That's what I'm trying
I
to
already
do.
told you like 4 times, but yeah, it's the initiation of force. So obviously, the person who did all those bad things obviously should be put down because he did all those bad things. I mean,
So he's saying that the initiation of force was the guy raping the kids in the first place, even though if it wasn't your kid.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who it is.
Okay.
The act is the problem. Somebody's got to put it down, right? That's the
Okay,
that's the whole deal.
I mean, I don't quite understand your definition of violence, but okay.
Do you want me to send you a chart? I have a chart I made about
I
this.
don't need a chart. I
Violence
got a thing
versus
for this
force. I
now.
literally have a chart. Do you want me to send it to
So-
you, Honda, so you can put this to rest?
Let's say there's a group of these guys that like doing that, committing violence against children, doing that thing. All right, they create their own little community and they protect themselves. They have their weapons. All right, this happens after you get your whole
governments
after
do
the
that.
government. What is a government then? Because you have your side, right? You're all about
Literally, that's
freedom
what
and
a
knowledge
government
and all
does.
this, right?
Is they
And then-
legitimize wrong action. That's what I said.
All right, I'm putting an end to this conversation for now because I got to get to super chats
they don't understand
and
what
move on with the
statism
chat. I
is or
know
what-
that we're not going to all agree on
Yeah.
these particulars. I philosophically agree that less government is good, no government is better. How do we get there? I think there's some argument there as to the way that's going to work in society and stuff like that,
People
and
can
with
make up
humans.
their own minds.
And that's
Watch the
fine.
summit.
And that's fine. We can agree to disagree on the particulars of how that might go. I, in particular, don't see how that can happen from where we're at to where we're going. I hope that you figure it out. I hope that you can show us and teach us how that works and show it in reality.
Doesn't
And
matter. It's wrong. Slavery is wrong.
I
Must
understand,
end. It
but
doesn't matter what
I
happens
understand.
after. Does
I
it matter what
understand.
happens after? If slavery is wrong, it must end.
I don't
It doesn't
think any
matter
of us-
what happens after.
I don't think
It's
any of
just that
us
simple.
believe slavery is a good thing here in this panel.
But
Well,
let me
anyone
get
who
to these
believes
super
in government
chats.
believes in slavery. It's a fact, and I can prove
And
it.
these are probably going to make it even worse. Josh says, "Who's
know I'm
controlling the technology and the supply lines and the manufacturing?"
I mean,
And
ask
I think your answer would be it would be people agreeing on who gets to do what, right? It would be
which
mutual.
is the way it is now. Yeah,
So,
literally nothing different.
but the
Z
problem
minus
comes when it's
violence.
like, okay, company A is deceiving people and no one knows about it. Like, who deals with that? Okay, now you have to have a group of people to go and investigate exactly how they were deceiving people, which is what in your book? Government.
Supply and demand. This is very simple economics, and it would happen very easily. And it would happen way better than it does now, where you have a centralization on solutions, where basically we can't do anything unless we get someone's permission, and someone's got to have the special right to do it. I don't want to legitimize any violence. All violence is wrong. Period. That's it. If you legitimize any violence, you want a government.
Government, though, right there. You just explained centralized government.
Daniel says, "This is cool and all, except commies taking over last time I looked." And that's true. There's always groups of people that are going to use Hegelian dialectic type situations to problem reaction solution their way into having power over you and other people. And in spite of having the best intentions and saying like, oh, this or that, like it's going to happen. It's going to fucking
Mental
happen.
slavery. Yes, if you can convince people to be your slave, they still have to be convinced, though. That's statism, the mental slavery. It's the worst form of slavery. It's worse than physical slavery. In fact, democracy is worse than communism. You know why? Because people believe they're free when they're not. That's a very unpopular view,
We're
though,
not a
right? Because you want to say
democracy, we're
communism is much
constitutional
worse
republic.
because of what happens. No, democracy is worse because people actually believe they're free. And that's what makes it more. Frederick Douglass even said it. He said, oh, my slave made it so that way I have to do less work. I'm super happy now. But then he realized, he said, wait, in his own biography, he said, wait, just because he made it better for me, I'm still a slave. He just wants me to still be a slave. That's why he made it better for me.
And
Let's not
Calhoun's
get
making a
deceived.
really good point here. It's a lot easier for a group of people to take your stuff than to pay for it or trade for it. Then people get together to defeat these people and use rules and enforcement. I mean, and that happens all the time. Like, why do you think there's bank robbers? Because it's easier to rob the bank than it is to make the money.
I think it's so funny how we use examples of what happens nowadays because we recognize it's never going away. The difference is, although wrong is always going to exist, when does wrong get legitimized? Only under a system that says these people have the right to do it and you don't. That's it.
Calhoun says part 2, aka governments, laws, and police. I don't know what you mean.
But Honda, I'll let you go because I don't want to take up the conversation too much. I knew that this type of thing could happen, but last time it didn't happen. We were okay. But I know what's his name? GFTV. I don't know his full name on here, but it's been nice talking to you, dude. I mean, nothing against you, and I hope you can maybe look into some stuff. I mean, because I put my whole life's energy into this, and I never thought I'd have this position. Honestly, I have the Trump water bottle. My dad worked for Trump. I have the certs. I have everything. I knew everything about the guy. I knew everything about the Constitution, and I'm involved in the American States Assembly, where they're trying to go back to the common law, American common law, what the founding fathers set up. Like, all of it. There's so many solutions out there, so many great things that not even people in politics understand, but nonetheless, there's even greater truths to be found. So I hope you guys can look into it, and
Nah, I'm good. I'm not.
Well, Corey, I do appreciate it, and I actually do agree with you in principle about a lot of the things that you talk about, right?
Yeah.
And I keep your work going, dude. Keep it going. Make the shit happen.
Send these questions to GFTV if you have his contact or whatever, because this will these are the best questions to really address with your own conscience. And this is an individual process. I'm not here to convince anybody. Okay, you do this for yourself, reflect for yourself, and think about it. I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. Like, you have to free yourself. If you're mentally enslaved, the only person who's going to free you is you, not me. So don't expect me to have all the answers. That's not to say that I don't have any guides to help you get there. Plenty. That's why I'm sitting at the whole event. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. Take care. Thank you, Hunter.
Yeah, man. See you, man.
God damn!
Fucking hell.
Fuck!
I was about to start banging my head on the fucking keyboard.
I think the problem is not letting, you gotta let people fucking finish their sentence and not interrupt them halfway through. That's a problem.
I never got a single question answered.
Yeah, I know.
Not one. Not one fucking question.
Can I be serious for a minute? That dude sounds like a future Jim Jones.
Ooh. Yeesh.
I mean, I just want, okay, look. I just want to, I'm not knocking his ideology or any of that stuff. I actually like it. But I was putting forth questions of, well, how do you maintain this, knowing the way human society has worked throughout human history? And I never got an answer. And then I got told that I obviously don't care about freedom and I'm a statist or some shit. And that I don't know what else. And then there was some weird definition of violence that it's not the textbook definition of violence. And it just turned into a whole bunch of shit. And I'm like, okay, I'm seriously not trying to come down on your ideology, because I like it. I like the idea that we're all free and we make our own decisions and that we work together, when we need to, and we come to agreements as a society without having, rulers tell us what to do. That's all great. I'm just asking, how do you maintain that? If like he said, you don't want to have any form of formal government in place. So what's the mechanism we put in place if it's not going to be a government, to make sure that once society starts taking that turn, that we can correct it, right?
Militias.
You know what I mean? It was not a difficult question to answer. And the only answer was, well, go read one of my 600 fucking novels or watch all my videos or whatever the fuck it was. Dude, I'm asking a simple question. If you can't defend that right here and now, and instead of just telling me to go watch one of your videos, it's not a difficult question. I'm not challenging the ideology. I'm saying, how do you maintain that further down the line based on what we know about humans and the way societies have always worked and the way tribalism works? How do we maintain that? That's not a difficult question.
You'd have to have a form of enforcement. You literally would.
And I think the thing that we can all agree on is less government, right? I think ultimately his goal would be no government, no authority. But I think if we took a couple of steps in that direction, we'd all be cool with that,
Yeah, of course we would.
So I think that's where we could be. That's where we can agree, and I think that's where it should.
How do you maintain it? Without, if every way in which people come together to say, okay, these things can't be done, or these things, whatever it is, whatever the situation is considered statism and wrong, then how do you maintain that society? Because eventually, whether you like it or not, people will seek to topple that type of that lifestyle in society. And a big enough group of people will eventually come along, whether that's from within the society or from without the society, from other areas, other countries, whatever it is, and seek to change things for their own betterment. Like, you have to have a mechanism in place to stop that. And it was a genuine question of, okay, what do you do? And the answer shouldn't just be knowledge and freedom. Like, that's not an answer. It's not an answer to my question. Okay, we can educate the shit out of people. There's some of the most dangerous fucking people throughout history have been some of the most well-read, knowledgeable individuals that have ever existed. So that's not the answer. And freedom is just that's a word. Like, how is that an answer to the question? I don't understand that.
Here, let me finish these super chats. Sorry, guys. Sorry because I was really trying to steer the conversation in a way that was mutually beneficial to everyone, and it did not happen. And I apologize. That is my fault as the host of this channel.
It's my fault. I was being very contradictory, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't trying to be, and I did get frustrated.
Well, you had a legitimate question, and you didn't like the answer, and you were disagreeing on definitions of things, so that makes having a philosophical discussion impossible.
Well, that's the thing. I don't feel like I got an answer.
Right.
Do you know the answer to that question? Did you get anything out of that? That was an answer to that question?
No, and I honestly, that's kind of the problem that I had with it when he was on last time. Is look, how do you stop people getting together to solve problems into turning into a government? And I don't know how you do.
Okay, I'm going to shut up now because that went on long enough. Sorry.
Daniel says, "Can't hear you, Honler. Get the cock out of your mouth." And then Ghost Shadow says, "Honda, too damn loud now. How am I now?"
You're kind of loud.
Yeah,
too damn loud.
Yeah,
you went from not loud enough to too loud.
Yeah, you loud.
Testing.
Like, okay, first of all, get the microphone away from the side of your head because I have the same microphone. It needs to be in front of you and then further away from where it is there. I shouldn't even see it on screen.
Testing.
That's better, but push it a little further away.
Testing again.
That's much better.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, it's better.
Much better.
And you just speak in a normal voice because we can all hear you.
Fuck you.
By the way, I didn't realize until just now I had my other channel logo up.
Yeah, this whole time, your GFTV. Never enough butthole. MSB 9021 says, "While sometimes it's appropriate, as a rule, I'm not a fan of violins."
Yeah, I don't like them either. I think only pussies play violins. Play a guitar like a real man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Josh dropped in $5. Josh dropped in $5.
There's a real man right there. Look at that real man. Got his goddamn guitar ready to go. There it is.
There you go.
Are we gonna do a show? Wait, hold on, play some more. Hold on.
I can't play, bro. I practice a lot.
Yeah,
but
well,
I've only
you
been
can-
playing for like a year and maybe
Better than anybody in here.
You're right.
Better than me.
All right, now I want to kill myself.
Right?
Why?
It doesn't
It's
sound
sad
very good on
music.
the,
He's playing sad guitar.
All I can play is Eric Clapton's Cocaine. That's the only thing I can play on the guitar. So
Sounds like it needs to be tuned a little bit.
Oh, Leo's got a guitar too.
I saw that.
Oh, we're gonna have dueling banjos here in a second. Hell yeah.
Don't ask me to play anything.
All right, Jesus Lord. Josh dropped in 5 and said, "There's no government when Cain killed Abel. Cain was still punished."
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, that guitar riff was better than the last hour.
Yeah.
Chat.
It was a nice,
appreciate
relaxing moment.
I don't know, man. Again, I think human nature is a thing that needs to be taken into the equation. Power corrupts. People are going to be corrupted by power that is even temporarily given to them. And I'm done talking about this shit because fuck this shit. We have stories to go over.
Dude, can you just play like the background music of all my chats?
If you want.
Like just sit back there and just play back. That's great, man. That does two things. It soothes me, sounds awesome, and gets you practice.
Bombshell about to drop. Fox News took money from the Biden administration to push COVID vaccines. Lots of money. And they were not alone. Yeah, anyone who's like, Fox News, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't listen to fucking Fox News. Like, sometimes Tucker Carlson, because he's talking about a specific subject or whatever.
I cannot remember the last time I watched anything from Fox News.
But I don't watch any Fox News show.
I used to regularly watch Fox News back when Glenn Beck was still on, if that tells you how long ago that was.
Damn, that guy got fucked up.
Yeah, look at how bad they beat him. That's great.
That's called.
You're hearing about the guy who beat his ass, right?
Look at the back of his head. You know what that's from?
That's
how flat it is like that?
That's from laying on the back too much as a child.
Yep, as a child.
Yeah. That's from never being picked up. His mom didn't give a fuck about him.
Well, obviously Dad didn't because he was smoking all the fucking meth.
Yeah, he smoked all the meth.
Is it still gay bashing if the people who beat your ass are gay?
All right. Listen to this.
People should know. What you're saying is obviously information that most people, when you're talking about a population of 300 plus million people and 200 plus million people have been vaccinated already. I would like to think that this is information that people want to know.
I agree.
How much does it disturb you that this is being censored? Because on every other platform, this conversation we're having right now would be censored. Every other online platform, social media, they would censor this for sure on YouTube. But what you're saying is incredibly important.
Censorship that has suppressed for 2 years information on safe and effective early treatment and censorship on vaccine safety has led to large numbers of deaths, hospitalizations, and permanent disability. Joe, there is no bigger public health crisis than the impact of censorship in COVID-19.
There you go. Stop censoring us, YouTube. Susan Wojcicki, whatever the fuck your name is.
And Channel Strike.
Hopefully. Again, dude, you guys need to watch this documentary, Died Suddenly.
Post it on my Discord so I'll see it.
Like, you need to spend the time. It's fantastic. It gives really good information about like what it's doing to people. Not everybody, apparently, but maybe everybody. Who fucking knows? Maybe people that are not dying from things or have this going on just to a lesser extent or whatever. You know, it's fucking scary. It's goddamn scary, and it made me go hug my kids and tell them that I love them and that I'm so glad that we never did any of this stuff, and you know there was no need to, and we fought against it and we won. You know. Oh, Club Q shooter non-binary. We already talked about that.
After the jab came out and all the bullshit, I'm to the point where I won't get a vaccine ever again because if they're doing it now, they're just going to put that shit in everybody.
And then there was the Chesapeake shooting that just happened. And after that happened, before I even knew anything about the shooter or anything that happened, I wrote this. With every single mass shooting that happens, I just double down on the fact that I will carry a gun everywhere I go. And no, it does not make me think that we should have any kind of stricter gun control. I don't care what the fucking facts are about the situation. I don't care about how many people got shot. I don't care about who got shot or who did the shooting. None of that matters. Literally, none of that has any effect on my thinking about the situation at all. Carry a fucking gun for self-defense.
Yep.
Carry a fucking gun everywhere you go. You're in the break room at Walmart. Should have had a fucking gun. Because there's going to be evil people that are going to do evil things every fucking time. Everywhere you go for the rest of your life. For the rest of eternity, as long as there's humans, there's always going to be evil people doing evil shit. That is why we advocate for the Second Amendment. That is why we carry guns. Because the thing that stops a bad guy with a gun isn't good intentions, isn't like education, isn't fucking loving good feelings. It's carrying a fucking gun yourself and having it ready to defend yourself when you need to.
I don't. I mean, it to my knowledge, it's never happened, and I don't know if it ever will. But in one of these situations, whether it be what happened at the nightclub or what happened at Walmart, I wish somebody that was there would have been, let's say, a person who had a carry permit and they did not carry to work that day or to that club or wherever because they were told they couldn't carry in this place, and then something bad happened, and then they sue the fucking shit out of Walmart or wherever the fuck to set some kind of goddamn precedent that you can't just fucking disarm people in this country, because look what happens when you do. I don't know if it'll ever fucking happen, but somebody needs to do that. Because I guarantee you at one of these fucking shootings, there have been people there that would have been carrying that day had they been allowed to.
Yeah. El Paso, 2018 or 2019, the one guy who survived was a carry holder at the time and didn't carry his gun that day.
But did he sue the shit out of them?
No, he didn't. And he should have sued Bloomberg on top of that as well.
Well, I mean, here's the answer to that. Fuck your fucking rules. I'm going to do what I'm going to fucking do. If I work at a place that does not allow me to carry a gun, I'm going to carry a goddamn fucking gun. Anyway, you're just not going to know about it. If the shit happens where the guy comes in and he starts shooting people, and I, with my illegal gun or against the rules gun that I have on me, even though I'm not supposed to, stop the fucking bad guy, do what you're going to do to me. Fucking fire me or send the government against me or whatever it is that you're going to do. Charge me with a crime for carrying a gun in a place that I shouldn't have been carrying it, even though I saved people's fucking lives by doing that, and see how that goes over in the public.
Yeah.
Make that.
Well, we saw that last year.
Every fucking time.
Remember last year that mall shooting?
Yes.
Where the guy pulled out his fucking Glock and shot the dude.
Yep.
That happened. Did that dude have
40 yards?
Did they press any charges on him? Fuck no, they didn't. Even though technically the mall was fucking whatever, like had their shit and you weren't supposed to carry there. He still did, and he stopped the dude. Nobody's talking about that anymore.
Just to point out, that was like 3 to 4 months ago that happened, not last year. It was It was like a week after Indiana passed constitutional carry.
I don't remember when it was, but
yeah, it was this year.
It feels like forever ago with today's news cycle, but whatever. But that dude didn't get charged with shit, even though the media screamed. Remember all the shit coming out of the media? Oh, 2 people carried guns into places they couldn't. He just got lucky. But he still shouldn't have been carrying there. Remember how they tried to spin that fucking story and make it seem like he did something wrong too?
Yep.
They fucking tried.
I don't know. All I'm saying is, rules are for dumb people. They're not for you if you're not dumb. The reason why they're like, oh, you can't carry a gun in this place is because some dumb person did and fucked up and did something stupid with it, right? If you're not going to be stupid and fuck up and do something stupid with it, then guess what? The rule doesn't apply to you. You know?
Exactly.
You don't need the warning label on the fucking toaster saying, don't use in the bathtub.
Yeah.
Because you're smart enough to know that, bathtubs and toasters don't fucking mix, Yep.
Yeah, because the dumb people are going to do dumb shit anyway. The criminals are going to do criminal things anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who choose to ignore it to defend those and other people around them are going to do it anyway. So, what's the point? Are you stopping anything bad from happening? Nope, you're not.
Data says, didn't that happen to the Denny's girl in the 90s? I mean Lubbies, not Denny's.
Lubies, yeah.
Yeah.
Lubbies? Did you say Lubbies?
I don't know what the fuck that shit is. We don't have that here.
Lubies
Yeah, I
Cafe.
never heard that.
Lubies Cafe. Yes, you know exactly who he's talking about. It's the chick who in Texas has gone up before in front of Congress and talked about how she left her gun in the car that day and both her parents died in that shooting in the Lubies
Yeah,
in the 90s.
I thought that was the 80s.
No, it was in the 90s, early 90s.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like 92 or something.
So yes, we heard all about it here because we're in Texas. It didn't happen that far. It happened about 45 minutes from where I live.
Yeah, I remember when it happened, the day it happened.
Yeah, I do too.
How is Lubys Lubies?
I don't know. That's just how they fucking say it. I don't know. It's the name of the place. I don't know. It's not like they're from Texas. I don't know where they come from. Fucking Lubies. I don't know.
Lubbies. Love sat alone in a boggy marsh.
Well, technically, it's vowel, consonant, vowel, so it would be Lubies, not Lubbies.
How do you spell lube?
Lube.
Yeah, where's the E, motherfucker? Fuck you.
They pronounce it wrong. They pronounce it wrong. It should be lub. It should be lub. Go get your car lubbed. quick lub and oil change. Come on. Lub it up.
Yeah, love
Get some of that KY lub.
Jesus Christ. Look, I mean, honestly, dude, Corey, we agree with like pretty much everything you're saying, except for how do you maintain that? How do you make that work in reality with the fact that there's violent people, with the fact that there's uneducated people, with the fact that there's going to be people who don't agree with the system that you want to implement, with the fact that there's always going to be violent people who are going to initiate violence, and then you're going to have to fucking do something about it. I mean, like, I don't know. You got to come up with a simple way to like explain that, I guess, because I had a problem with it last time you were on, and I try not to be a jerk about it, honestly, and I'm trying not to be a jerk about it now. Because I do agree with you fundamentally that we need to get away from big government, one solution, one size fits all to problems for people in this country. That is the main problem with this country is, hey, if we can convince everybody that this one solution is going to work, I make a fuck ton of money. Booyah! Let's do that. Because
it's the same problem that I have with people who believe in quote unquote pure Marxism, right? So we do away with all the people that tell people what to do, and we all collectively come together to make sure everybody covers each other's needs. Okay, sounds cool. How do you maintain that? Knowing human nature, knowing what human society has brought to us in the past, when eventually some person or some group of people will come along and take advantage of that system. How do you stop that from happening? And a communist can never answer that fucking question. They just go, oh, well, real communism's never been tried before. Okay, whatever, dude. No, tell me, how do you keep the power with the people, with the individual person? How do you ensure nobody comes along and fucks with that system? How do you ensure that somebody who has a bad day doesn't do something fucked up to other people? How do you ensure that a drought doesn't come through and wipe people out and people in their, most dire and worst need fucking give in to their baser fucking instincts and do some bad shit, or have somebody do some bad shit on their part, right? Like, if you want pure Marxism or anarchy or whatever it is, you have to be able to deal with those pretty fucking normal situations that pop up in society and in humanity throughout all of human history. You have to have something in place beforehand to deal with it, because it's going to happen. Like, it's going to happen at some point. It might not be this year or in 5 years or 10 years or even 100 years, but at some point it's going to happen. So what do you put in place at the foundation of this society to at least give the people later on a chance to stop that or correct the ship? And I and just like, with communists, they can never give me a fucking answer to that question.
Daniel says, I think it's more like most people here agree with the principles, but realize implementation is impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why I consider myself to be constitutionalist libertarian, if that makes sense.
Implementation would
I want
be
as
possible
little government as possible. I want as little oversight as possible. I want as little rules for people as possible. But I do recognize that at some point you're going to have some need for government, for some need for mutual defense, for some need for like public rules for everybody, because you shouldn't be murdering or raping or doing stuff like that. And like, what about prison? You know, like, what about if someone steals something? Do you cut their hand off if you catch them? Because that's what they do in Middle Eastern society, and that's what's considered fair. And if you know, it's like you were getting stolen from and the guy can't pay you for it, and you cut his hand off, like he initiated by stealing from you, you cut his hand off. Is that correct? Is that right?
Well, so by his definition, that's self-defense, right?
And you're going to put them in prison, right? So then who's going to pay for the prison? Because like you're not going to go around cutting people's hands off. Like there's a million ways that you end up in what you call a statist society. And I think that by preempting that and saying, here are some basic rules for the government, not for the people. Here are some basic limitations for the government, not for the people. Then you get as close to a libertarian society as you can possibly get. And I think that we have moved far from that in this constitutionally elected republic that we live in, that no longer resembles what it was originally intended to be, and that the founding fathers were able to be rolling over in their fucking graves. So yeah, I can agree. We need less state. We need to take steps to take away that power and that corruption that's been sitting within the government for years, since before we've all been born, that we've all been born into, and recognize that there are limitations for the government that were put into place for a reason, and they basically ignored that shit and moved forward with, you know, powers that they should have never had. And how do you get that done? That's the question that I would like to know. How do you get from where we're at to a society that has as little government as possible? You can call that slavery, and that's fine. I disagree with having that term being synonymous with slavery. But yeah, like, how do we get to basically no government? How do we get to a minimal amount of government in order for society to function? And that's where I think we could all agree. That's where I think we could all move forward with implementing that. And that guitar is making the fucking hairs on the back of my neck stand up when I'm trying to talk. Right,
it's beautiful. What the fuck? You're getting free soundtrack music, dude. Come on.
I'm trying to be quietish too.
And it's like not too loud, like we can all talk over it and hear each other and shit. It's just like a nice, relaxing backdrop. You know what I'm saying? Just there hanging.
So these are the stories that I was going to cover. You remember that night where I was like, "Are you doing a chat?" and you forgot to send out links?
Oh yeah.
The home invasion chat. And I won't go into all of these stories, but look at all these stories. 2 French bulldogs stolen from home during home invasion. 11/16/22. Break-in home invasion part 1. Let's just watch one of these. So you can have locks on your doors and fucking all the rules and things in place or whatever. People are still going to break into your fucking house and steal your shit. Yeah. Who do you call? What do you do about it? You get a posse of people together and go hunt for some person without any evidence as to who it is and try to put someone in prison? God damn it.
Well, and then the other side of that is like, if you do that, if you as a society come together, as a community, as whatever, come together and say, okay, we've decided these are things that we can and can't do, and these are the these are the people we're going to put in charge of this or that or whatever it is, right? Like, well, then you've essentially formed a government. You may not want to call it a government. You may say that's just a community of people. Well, that's what a government is. Maybe a small government that just, all the people in the town get a say in. It's still a government. It's still a form of government.
So you got
By the way, that dude with the shotgun is like, I don't know. There's no situation in which I'd rather have a handgun than a shotgun. Then you don't know enough about guns. Sorry, dude. Because no, there's plenty of situations I'd rather have a handgun than a shotgun.
Mm-hmm. So you got the dude with the baseball bat with the guy reaching in and he fucking smashes his arm. You got couple killed in deadly home invasion. Where was this at? with 5 children close by. Doesn't matter where it's at. America.
Handgun.
You got a home invasion here. Fair Lawn police were called to 28th Fair Lawn, 9 a.m. 9 a.m. home invasion. So it's not at like 3 in the morning necessarily that you got to be ready for this shit.
No, in fact, most of the time it's not. Statistically, it's usually in the day when they think nobody's going to be home.
You got a home invasion here in Clinton Town, Mississippi. Wherever the fuck that is. Chick comes and checks it out, and then a dude fucking runs up behind her at the end. You got a home invasion here. People asking to use the telephone.
Y'all's the only one that got a light on.
We don't.
You don't?
Sorry.
Oh, home invasion there. SWAT team responding to home invasion robbery in University Heights. 4 arrested in Greene County home invasion. 2 other suspects sought. 2 suspects wanted following home invasion. Dude, these are happening a lot.
Everywhere.
A lot. And I don't know. I just wanted to point to this shit and be like, here's my question. Someone knocks on your door. You're not expecting a pizza. Do you answer the door with a gun in your hand? Do you answer the door at all? What do you guys do?
I have a gun in my hand.
Gun in hand?
I'm not
I don't answer the door at all, and I have a gun by my side.
I got gun in hand, and I'm checking the fucking camera, seeing who the fuck that is. I mean, if it seems like it's a dangerous situation, I'm grabbing a bigger gun.
See, this grandpa was trying to shut the door. They slammed the fucking door on his index finger and his fucking thumb during a home invasion.
That ain't healing like instantly. That's fucking
No.
taking some fucking time.
Yeah.
That's like he can't use his hand for a year type shit.
That's why
2
you
masked
don't open the
suspects
door to
armed with firearms forced the victim into his home at gunpoint. So they followed. So this guy's like walking, parked his car, is walking into the front door. Dudes walk up behind him with guns and say, like, let us in. Where's the fucking money? Man shot during suspected home invasion, North Nashville. Police are investigating a shooting that left a man injured.
Not
Okay.
for me.
Armed home invasion. A neighbor says the intruders were dressed as law enforcement officials. So even if the cops knock on your door, dude, like, show me your fucking badge, call 911, confirm with the police on 911 that the people at your door are police before you even talk to them. Fuck the police, by the way.
That's why you don't talk to the cops, period. So you wouldn't have a reason to open the door anyways.
Call my lawyer. Here, I'll slide the car under the door. The card under the door.
8
Well,
people
here's the
charged.
thing. Nowadays, if cops show up and they don't kick down your door, then they don't have a fucking warrant.
That's true.
So just don't answer the fucking door.
That
And
is
you'll find out if they have a warrant. Because if they kick down your door, they had a warrant.
Yeah.
Either way, there's no reason to answer the fucking door.
8 people charged in violent home invasion in Sandy Springs. A mother was inside with her young daughter at the time. Their identities have not been released. Like, look at these winners. Like, if that's who's outside my fucking window when I look out there.
They're all trying to be fucking Trippy Red from Chicago, man. Look at them. Fucking.
I don't think Trippy Red is from Chicago.
South Carolina woman
You know what I
dies
mean.
of heart attack as man attempts home invasion.
What's his name? One from Chicago that's all famous, got like the red hair. Fuck is his name?
Rail Red.
Right.
No.
It's about Little Dirt.
I think one of them guys is. But those
Talking about
guys,
Little Dirt.
they're just protecting the blocks, man.
Okay, you got to watch this one. This one's great. This is my favorite one out of all of them.
Gang realizes they must help others to achieve their dreams, so they redecorate a poor family's home a la Extreme Makeover Home Edition. The only problem is that the family is not in on the plan.
Wasn't that the thing with the show that people were surprised?
Yes,
They didn't
I
know
can't
they were
remember.
going to get a home
Yeah.
makeover renovation, and then they surprised these families by basically like doing it. Like they,
The difference is they don't surprise them in the middle of the night by screaming and dragging them from the
is Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
It was based on, the idea of wanting to do an extreme home makeover episode, but doing it in the most wrong way, an extreme possible way, like really latching onto the extreme aspect.
We are taking over your house. Your house is ours now. Your lives are gonna change forever.
Are you sure about that?
Well, that's the funny thing. They did a extreme home makeover by home invading their house. Oh, here's another one. Man forced to unlock his door, and they shoot him in the back in cold blood after he opens the door. Look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's 6 or 7 of them by the end. Dude's got an Uzi. Was he just taking out the trash or something? I don't know. He's got kids, though. Look at all the kid stuff out there.
It just makes me sick. Like,
see, and they enter the home. What did they say? Sheriff's Department. So anyone who's in the house is like, oh, the cops are here. I don't have to be scared. Yeah, they end up killing the guy.
fucking bullshit.
Woman with newborn baby in her arms held at knife point. This is in London, but still.
Of course.
Yeah, but they don't have guns in London, so this can't happen. So this is fake news.
Yeah, that's true.
And they're not supposed to have knives either, because they had the man.
Yeah, that's illegal too. So again, fake news. This didn't happen.
New Jersey.
All right, gentlemen, I gotta go. I'm about to fall asleep. I'm about to do.
Yeah, it's been 3 hours. I'm almost done here.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So I got
All
to
right,
go
brother.
to sleep.
That's why I've been lying through these.
Tell other Corey I wasn't trying to be a dick. If you see him again.
All right.
I was just having a passionate conversation, but I still want to answer my question. So, all right. I'll see y'all tomorrow night.
Later.
See ya.
Later, man.
Later.
Daniel says some of us got doors that cost $20,000 though.
Fuck.
I think that's hilarious when they've got like the fucking steel reinforced everything door and shit like that, and the police are trying to like break into it. They got the battering ram, and they just they can't get in.
Yeah, I also find it funny when people spend that kind of money on doors and locks, but they always forget about their windows, and they're just a cheap, one plain window or something that you can easily smash with a pencil or a hammer. They cheap out on the windows.
Yep.
New Jersey police found people inside home tied up after an apparent home invasion of the residents of 28th Street. Fair Lawn, New Jersey. Robbers impersonated police and forced their way into the home earlier in the day. Warning, home invasion on the rise in UK, dressed as an Amazon delivery driver. Then storm in the home owner's house and beat them up, taking jewelry, money. Be safe, people. There you go. So sad for my to announce. What the fuck? It is so. I can't speak. It is sad for my to announce. That's the reason is he can't fucking type either. That a dear friend, viewer, and fellow small streamer and family were victims of home invasion. The husband was sliced and stabbed in the head. The dog was killed. The kids' Christmas presents were stolen. Attention, I need donations. Yeah, look at this guy, dude. They sliced his fuck. They like scalped him.
Jesus. Ditto. Jinx.
Dude, and this is the worst one. This is South Africa. And I'll finish with this video. This is the last of them. Just listen to this fucking chick's story.
They're South Africans. 24 days ago, we had a home invasion. My fiance was murdered, and I was murdered 6 times. The way I'm feeling right now, this country is going to shit. Now my question is when will South Africans start standing up when we have a minimum of 3 people dying per hour that is being murdered and nothing is being done to protect our South Africans? My fiance was extremely brave and he protected me with his life. And my question to you is, when does the crime affect your household? When does it become your family members that gets murdered? And why are we not taking action to start putting an end to this crime? Now, it's all great that you watch the good feel stuff, TikToks and Facebook and all of that, but guys, it's time for a reality check. Regardless of what you do, if criminals want in, they will get in. Regardless of the measures that you put in to protect yourself and your household, it's still not enough. And the sad reality of this is why are we living in cages while our criminals are running around, killing, murdering, stealing, raping, and we all just accepting it? I would like to have people start sharing the news of others. 24 days, not a local newspaper has put anything in on this murder. How many other crimes are we not hearing of?
That's it. So in South Africa, by law, are you allowed to have a gun to protect yourself?
No.
Nope.
No, you're not.
No.
But guess who has guns anyway?
Criminals.
Yep.
And who were they targeting?
The defenseless.
People in their homes. Because they know that the people in their home are subject to the laws of the state and therefore cannot have a gun legally. So therefore it's like a shooting gallery. And that's what they want for America. That's exactly what they want for the United States.
Yep.
Is to take away your and my ability to have a gun and our right to self-defense with that weapon, while criminals will never follow those rules. While criminals will never go by that law, and they will do whatever they want. 3 people per hour in South Africa. 3 people per hour are murdered. Overwhelming majority of them are homeowners, farmers, people out in the middle of the country who get rolled up on by a gang of like 10 dudes with AKs and whatever else. And like, this isn't even the worst story I've heard. You know, there's stories of sadistic, terrible, evil, awful shit being done to these people. Like, tie up the husband, cut off his fucking eyelids with a knife, and then rape his fucking wife in front of him to death before they murder him. Like, take the baby, the newborn baby, get a pot of boiling water boiling, and then dunk the baby in over and over again. Like, that's the kind of shit that they're doing.
Gee, that's fucking...
And who's the target? Again, it's the homeowners, but who are they? Bora farmers in the middle of nowhere. The minority population, 15-20% of South Africa is white, and they're, post-apartheid, they're blamed for everything. They're blamed for every fucking woe of everything that's happened in that country ever and everything that's ever happened to the people. What does that sound like? Kind of like what's going on here. Except for we're not far enough down the line yet. We still have our guns. We still have the right to self-defense. Don't give that shit up ever. Don't let Biden or anybody else fucking convince you that you should feel guilty because someone used a gun to commit a crime. Because you're not that person. Your gun didn't commit that crime. That's an evil person who did it. And if you give up those guns, that's just going to give more power to those evil people. So yeah, that's a very somber note to end on there.
Yep.
But I'm going 3 hours and 10 minutes, and I've been sick this whole time.
You're done good though.
Yep.
Well, thankfully I didn't have to talk the entire time.
I wonder why.
But We'll be back for some gay frog action tomorrow. Some hot, hard gay frog action.
Oh yeah.
All over your face. Oh, and before we go, there's this too.
Oh.
Oh, you want to see Matt dancing? Let's watch Matt dancing again.
I'm just the giggledy.
All I'm saying is that the guy singing the song, like, he looks like he's fucking 12 years old, but he sounds like he's like 35.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it.
Rick Astley.
All right, guys. Well, I do appreciate everyone for watching this this crazy show we had tonight. Don't know why it had to go that way, but it did, and that's okay. You know, it's okay. Sometimes shit happens, but we'll be back for some Gay Frog tomorrow. So have a good night. Peace out, everybody.
There you go.
The troops.
Correct the troops.
Like
Troopa
Mom.
Shabba